hit the button, guys. We're doing things.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
So we've got some fun news for you. Someone followed our advice and decided to like, comment, and subscribe and leave us our first hate comment. So comment down below and tell us how you would have responded to this comment.
Yeah. We're finally popular enough for people to be like, I don't like them.
I think the best thing about this is we don't even have Reddit. We probably should have Reddit, but
I'm not doing
Maybe
it.
they could be the moderator.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, dude, person who put our very first hate comment on there, like, reach out to us. We'll make you a moderator. You can shit talk us for literal days, years, however long it takes. Just get all of that frustration, all that energy out. Spend all of your time on us. It's great.
It's not a paying job, but you know what? If you do what you love.
Yep. Neither is commenting on videos is a paying job, but you're good at that anyways. And with that being said, hello and welcome to our Dungeons and Dragons podcast episode. This is a place for our wonderful DM to take a break from telling an awesome story and the chaos that follows, and lets us have a moment to talk amongst ourselves and let you all learn a little bit about us and our characters. We have a few interesting topics to go over today, so without further ado, let us gather around the table with our drinks and our snacks and enjoy a moment around Ganta's table. So,
Pause for effect.
pause for effect. So, ladies and gentlemen of the current podcast, give us a quick introduction. Go,
Listen,
Spencer, go.
That's not the word that my brain processed first.
Oh, what are we doing?
Who are you?
Introduce yourself, darling.
Because
okay.
some people are strictly audio listeners.
Yes, perfect. All right, so I am Spencer, and in this D&D campaign, I am Norvian Shagglethorn, the elf fighter who has a collection of baby teeth that he is figuring out what to do with.
Episodes,
Love
I
baby
download
teeth.
those a couple of times.
yeah, relative episodes are in our YouTube, so go check those out.
I'm pretty sure the one that you're going to want. Actually, we just posted on the day of recording. That is going to be titled "Where Did Norvian Get Baby Teeth?"
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It's very easy to find.
Oh yeah, just search for that and you'll find everything you need to know about that one. John.
I'm John. I play Hero in the campaign. I also host the one shot. And yeah, I play a moody teenager. Even though I was not really a moody teenager.
I feel like there's so much like repressed memories that come out when we play with Hero.
There's not. I was just like, I was the weird kid that, like, the weird nerdy kid
Was.
that wasn't. Yeah, right. Like, I was not like really bullied in high school or anything. I just kind of like existed. That was the end of that. If somebody else wants to talk, why are we sitting here in silence?
We were just like, go on. Continue.
I'm waiting for direction from Chad because apparently he's a man and needs to lead.
Yeah, facts. That's why you're on the bottom of this list. Harley.
Coming from a person who gets a lead in it.
Switch.
I am Harlequin. I am the DM. I play everybody that isn't these fucks. I have also played Dungeons and Dragons as well as various other tabletop role-playing games for over 10 years, and at this point, I am crocheting a snoodle. Because just go watch our episodes. You'll see it.
If you don't know what a snoodle is, that episode hasn't been edited or released yet, but it will. And when we figure out a retroactive, look into the future. You'll see the title. I don't know.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I will probably put the word snoodle in the title of that episode. So again, should be relatively easy to find.
Oodles and boodles and noodles are snoodles.
To be fair, Noodle's been brought up a couple times in previous episodes
That's true.
as well.
Yeah.
Like
Well, now-
when we first met the K.
Yep. And now your mediocre, okay-ish editor now knows how to do things and actually put things on screens.
You don't get to sell yourself short, Sugar Bear. Bad Sugar Bear.
Me. Last but not least, I'm Chad. Chad from work. I play Ganta Dormont, the monk chef who can't figure out how to fit in, aside from just existing in the story. There's a lot that he wants to do but doesn't know how to get to it. So yeah, go check out Ganta and his internal struggles with companionship and acceptance.
I don't know. He companioned that swan pretty efficiently.
Okay. This is podcast. This isn't. No, fuck you. You're not having this. You can't take this from me. This is my zone. This is my safe space.
A swan fucker free safe space.
Okay, then I just can't. I can't. This is dumb.
Sorry.
This is why I married you.
Fine, go ahead.
Oh, I'm done. That was
I got it out of my system. I'm good.
System? Yeah,
I got it out of my system.
Yeah.
Rebellious team.
No, you were just like, I get to be protected from me here, and I'm like, dude, there's literally a sound effect out there.
I would literally spend the next 2 minutes to get and destroy the entire soundboard that I built. Fuck you, okay? Anyways, so with that, we're going to go ahead and migrate over to our very first topic, which is homebrew versus raw. Rules as written. Who wants to kick off on this one? So we got 3 DMs and 4 players. So really, Spencer, not to call you out by any means, but in your experience, and I know for a fact you've seen things on the YouTubes and the TikTokies and the reels and stuff about how you got your rules lawyers and you got the rule of cool, you got homebrew things that are just like maybe it could be overpowered or broken or don't work. So what is everyone's thoughts on homebrew? We'll start with homebrew world versus module. We'll start with that one
Chad,
first.
Would you be opposed to me editing the question for Spencer?
Sure.
What have you... So we're playing what is a module campaign.
Yeah.
We are playing from a pre-written book. This thing is like everything's basically set out, and there are some homebrew elements. But what have you not seen that you think would be really cool?
Okay, so I don't feel like anything's missing from the campaign, so it'd be hard to say that there's something that I need to see, while the campaign's still really just kicking off. There's still a lot to see, a lot to do. We've only just started exploring the Feywilds in the world. But, I don't think there's anything missing. I also don't have a ton of D&D experience, so it's not like I can say, oh, well, this was a really cool thing I saw. I'd like to see it make another appearance in some shape or form. But, I think not anything that is missing so far, but I feel like plenty of characters in the world, there's plenty of quirkiness to this too. So, I'd imagine that homebrew allows for some personality and flair, but I think you're doing a good job of adding your own personality and flair to it. I think if nothing else, the campaign has never felt boring and the characters are all characters. So I think that's something that is able to be incorporated into a modular setting and still add some flavor and flair.
And that definitely speaks to our player base as well, because Click Clack is kind of the only Harley flair that I've put in. Everything else is the rest of the guys.
That's not entirely true. You have the fake curse. The curses exist, but Harley's list is a homebrew list.
Technically, yes. I took from a couple different places and I made up some of my own. Like, I think, I don't remember. Like, every single rule I just wrote has left my brain now. I think the influencer one is one that I wrote because most of us have done some form of social media influencing, and I'm like, oh, no. This is gonna be good.
Unfortunately.
So Spencer,
aside from everything that Harley just said, you haven't read the book. What
Yeah.
What do you, if you were playing this for the very first time, which you are,
Yes.
what homebrew do you see now? What homebrew do you see that is happening in our campaign?
Not quite sure what you mean, like what?
Yeah,
Homebrew is going to be rules that aren't in the book.
Yep.
That
rules,
aren't like
items,
the basic rules of D&D that we've explained to you.
Yep. Rules,
Like the,
items, people,
Yeah.
places.
Well, I mean, the deal with the devil is something that's not in the book, right? That's
Yeah, that's a
something-
homebrew table rule. That's a homebrew house rule. It's a very popular one. That's one that I pulled off the internet, but I don't believe it is a rules as written rule.
Okay. Yeah, but I do think that and the fake curses are definitely interesting elements that, allow us to kind of get the story where we want, with combat encounters or different things, so we're not screwing our whole plans with one roll, but then it also does allow for some more fun role playing in ways that we might not have actually thought of, but have pretty much unanimously been entertaining. I don't think there's been any of the fake curses that have been duds. Some of them are funnier than others, but they've all seemed to hit the mark. So that's definitely a fun homebrew element. And I know that some of the different skills and abilities of the characters are at least flavored or flared to have some unique personalities, if I recall. So I don't know if that's technically a homebrew or if that's just flavored text, or how exactly you'd classify that.
Bit of both.
Yep. What about our played characters? What homebrews do you think we're running?
Well, I know you're running some homebrew, if I recall correctly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know how much I could exactly say what exactly from each thing was homebrewed. I just, feel like I'll remember it as soon as we're done with this segment, of course.
That's how this goes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Chad. I know I'm taking your job, but that was a great segue for actually a Chad moment. What was your favorite thing to homebrew for Ganta? Because Ganta does have a decent amount of homebrew in his build.
The only real thing that I homebrewed for Ganta is just his books. That's the only thing I homebrewed for him. Like his monk abilities and everything. That's not a homebrew. He's just not using. It's just flavor text, and he's just not using them. Like I when I built Ganta specifically, I know we're kind of get a little bit off topic, but when I built Ganta specifically, I wanted to give him limits because I like awakenings.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted something to really happen in the story that allowed him to. 'Cause I mentioned at the beginning, he's learning to be accepted more so than just than a servant. Like he wants to grow. Like he's trying to. He wants to grow. He wants to get out of that. He wants to break through his shell. That's why I put a lot of limits on him, what he can and can't do as a monk, because I'm waiting for the story to basically align with a sense of awakening. That's not a homebrew. That's legit rules as written. You don't have to do certain things. Like a fighter doesn't have to use action surge, for example. A sorcerer doesn't have to use their sorcery points to do sorcerer shenanigans. It could just
I don't even have sorcery points on hero.
Yeah. Hell, even a bard doesn't have to do inspiration die. It could be a limit thing. Like maybe, kind of like what Harley was talking about, the things that were lost. Maybe hero lost his sense of music, so his inspiration doesn't work. Those aren't homebrews. Those are, I call them limiters.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the community term or anything, but that's what I call them. But no, to answer your question, Harley, the only thing I've homebrewed for Ganta is literally just the books. That's it.
So
Everything else is just raw.
I know that, surprise, surprise, guys, the same thing that happened to that episode that we lost happened to the first time we recorded this set of subjects for the podcast.
Yeah, we had different people, but it's all good. That's what we do. The audience didn't need to know that. Thanks, Harley.
Oh, the reason I brought it up was you mentioned something last time that is very on topic. And it was the first time you ever DM'd you homebrewed the entire thing?
So I don't know if it was brought up in another podcast or not, but to summarize, I was deployed in Germany with some friends of mine, including Luna, who plays Azul, and just walked by the smoke pit. They were like, "Hey, Chad, you know D&D?" I was like, "I know about it. Can you tell a story?" "Sure." "Cool. You're the dungeon master. Here's the player's handbook." Not even the dungeon master's book, the player's handbook. So I spent the next maybe 3, 4, 5 hours building a world from start to finish, and we told that story. I had no modules. I had no experience. It was a shit show. I promise if we were doing this recording, it would be negative likes left and right.
Wait, you can get negative likes?
If there's a way, it would be
More
that
likes
story.
than dislikes. More likes than dislikes. Yeah, you can go negative.
Yeah, if I could have literal like just dislike and then a negative dislike and then just an oblivion dislike. Trust me, the story was good. It was the mechanics and the action and the delivery wasn't. Like on paper, it made sense. Just there was no sense of execution. I had no idea what I was doing.
Touché.
If you,
John's been very quiet.
That's all good. We're about to get to John here in a second. Other DM,
Waiting for my turn to talk.
Yep.
Like,
I
other
don't know
DM.
how to do that. We've established this.
I know.
So John, would you consider yourself a rules lawyer?
No.
No.
I think when it comes to certain spells and abilities, to keep them within like a logical, right? I can be a bit of a rules lawyer with my players just because I'm not trying to. Because like if you stretch some of the early level spells by just like a tiny bit and what their meaning is, like the game can go to hell so quickly.
Again, limits.
Yeah. So like I'll definitely like keep my players in line. Like we had a moment in one of our previous episodes where like me and Nate were talking back and forth on like the errata of like how a certain spell worked. It was magic missiles and like, you know, how if it's concentration.
I remember that. Yeah.
For 3 separate hits, or if it's one concentration roll for all 3 hits combined. And I'm like, well, no, it's each time you deal damage. And like those types of times, I'll be like a little rules lawyer because either one, you know, for that moment, it was like, well, this also makes more sense storyline wise in my head. But 2, it's just like I like being inside the rules on that. But when it comes to like athletics versus strength or athletics versus dexterity, acrobatics, when it comes to those kind of checks and like, you know, adding in the rule of cool, all of that I'm so for, especially if it creates one of those story moments that are like unforgettable.
So story has more of an influence in your decision making than what the book says.
Yeah. When it comes down to combat, it's like I feel combat is a really good storyteller for me. So it's like I try to keep the lines very like in the rails on the car on the track when it comes to combat. The minute we're outside of combat, man, like if you can make it understandable to me, and I think it would make for a cool storyline moment, go off.
Yeah. Spencer, do you know, because we're on a topic of spells,
Yeah.
do you know the verbiage of like Mage Hand, for example?
Yeah,
I know John knows what I'm talking about.
don't have everything memorized, but I always pull up. I always have on another green or a notepad the wordings and specifications for all the spells and everything, so I can pull it up. And I know that we even had 1 or 2 times where it's kind of like, okay, lightning lore, how exactly does it work? And it's kind of like, you know, we discussed it, but I'm gonna just defer to the experts on it. Like, I'm not gonna try to meta game an advantage for myself for it. Like, oh, well, I could try to rules lawyer argue this and that. Like, first of all, I don't really have the experience with it, but there's also like what should work, and I think it makes sense if there's some confusion about what a spell does, probably whichever one fits the vibes and the overall theme and consistency of the world is probably better to go with than what just gives you the better outcome for that one isolated encounter. And I'd imagine that the consistency throughout the campaign and the spells is something you'd want to preserve, so things make sense and it doesn't just become a hodgepodge of people arguing every single time that there's a spell. And I used it and I argued for giving it the benefit of the doubt. Now it's used against me and I'm going to argue that it shouldn't get the benefit of the doubt, and then you just might end up in just a absolute shit show. So
yeah,
that never happens. What are you talking about?
So the reason I bring that up is like there are like cantrips and first level spells that if you were to just go exactly rules as written, like what it can and can't do, you have the potential to completely derail the entire campaign. You can have like this huge boss battle prepped and planned on the DM perspective, and then all of a sudden mage hand, crush a heart, or create destroy water, suck all the water out of this person's body and they're just dead. Like that, you have to take into account that it depends on your party, obviously. Like Harley's got an amazing group. I don't see any of us like going to one of the hags and be like, oh, just create destroy water, she's good, we ain't got to worry about that. And then all of a sudden the entire campaign is that answer and that solution.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be a little bit of a little less of a rules lawyer, and take away some of that rules as written. It doesn't fall into the category of like, hey, it just doesn't work that way. It's just one of those like, hey, we're not going to break the game, because D&D is a game that is meant to be broken by players. But to me, exploitation and meta are two different things. I'm really glad you said the word meta, because I want my players to exploit things. Use the rules as written to your advantage. Absolutely. Because I also do think if I had something that I wanted to do, unique with a spell or a combination of spells or abilities, I'd probably want to run it by the DM first and be like, hey, I have this really unorthodox thing. Do you think that could potentially work? That way it doesn't end up just like I put all my eggs in the basket of this cool ability only for the DM to be like, yeah, no, that's trash, we're not doing that. And now I'm just like, oh. Yeah. If you asked me as your DM, if you asked me to say, hey Chad, if you were to ask that prime example, if you were going to say, hey Chad, we're about to go and fight this amphibious creature. Can I use create and destroy water to destroy their entire body and just pull the water out from them and just shrivel them up and kill them? I say no, because obviously that would be meta, because the boss is a kraken. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to see if it's going to work on this merfolk to see if you can work on this kraken. I know what you're trying to do. And I say no. Oh, but rules as written. That tells me you already had a baseline mindset of you wanted this to work and you want me to say yes. It's not that you're not asking for permission. You're trying to basically you're trying to get what you want. And if you don't get what you want, you've now opened the door for both of us, that you forced that door open to have a dispute, to have a conflict.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the examples that people can go watch straight from our game, the teleporting the rabbits off the bridge, was one of those moments where, like, I mean, for those who weren't there, basically we had just leveled up. I got my subclass for Bard, and the first ability I got to use was a teleporting ability. Normally it would be used, it was built to like teleport you and your party in and out of combat to like help out, and I used it to teleport a bunch of people off a bridge. And again, we went with rules as written, because as written, the people you teleport did not need to have a designated landing location. You can kind of teleport them anywhere within a certain radius. And we went with that because it was cool for the moment, but like if we were fighting a big bad on the side of a cliff and I tried to do that, that'd be a whole different scenario.
Oh, like, but John, rules is written. You let me do it with these 9 Herringon. Why can't I do it with these 4 trolls on this cliff?
I want you to know John is the reason that I've given every monster that I have edited a fly speed.
I mean, it's it's one of those where it's just like again, in storyline, that moment was great. Like, I think we can all go back and look at that moment and be like, oh, perfect.
It was on the
like
on the bridge, right?
Yeah, because it was right after like Witch and Light pissed off Hero and Ganta, and then we
Yeah.
teleport through, and then there's these.
I think that was
enemies.
Ganta's one and only kill. This entire game, I think that was Ganta's one and only kill.
I don't think did Ganta kill something?
Did Ganta kill something? Has Ganta even been in a fight?
Ganta kicked a rabbit off a bridge.
No, we kicked a bunny off a bridge.
Yeah, that
Stick
was
with
it.
your wording, Chad.
Yeah, Ganta kicked a bunny off the bridge. I think that's the only combat he's been in combat, but he's never killed anything. I think the Harengon was the only thing, because the second time we fought Harengons, he was exhausted and sick. Yeah, he was trying to talk him down because he was exhausted and sick.
And it's like, don't worry, we got it. But it's just like you know, part of it's just being a DM. I know I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "Ooh, this really important moment. Here's what I'm gonna exploit this again."
Yeah.
Just because I can. It was just kind of like, you know, and it comes down to, again, story. Like, those 7 Harengon had nothing to do with the story other than to introduce the Harengon. It doesn't matter if we got into a 20-minute fight with them or
Agden.
Or
and
we could have gotten
too.
into it. Yeah. We could have gotten into a 20-minute fight, or we could have, you know, wiped them all out like we did, and it didn't affect anything.
Yeah.
But like when it comes down to like homebrewing things, I'm much more, and Chad, you seem to be in this boat too. I'd rather homebrew things beforehand and create the limits on the abilities myself, and then let them try to break it in game.
Yeah.
Than wait till we're in the middle of the game and, you know, without any heads up, like you said, somebody trying to destroy something, like derail the whole thing.
So what I do, and I know Harley's been taking notes every once in a while when we have like these podcast sessions or hangout sessions. What I like to do is when somebody brings something to the table, like a creative thing that they want to do, meta or not, accidental or not, because my table group is fantastic. I love them. They're super understanding of my rulings. Is I'll legit like take notes of it. Like the create and destroy water is just the perfect example. I'll make sure that for next time, and whenever I do my next world or something like that comes up, I can spread that around. It's like, hey, Harley, just a heads up, when we're talking about like rules and not lawyering, but like rules, how mechanics work and whatnot. It's like, okay, this is something to pay attention to. John just got create and destroy water. You might want to let him know. Not saying John specifically, just as an example of conversation. Just want to let John know. It's like, hey, this is a spell that can end games, and it's a level 1 spell. If you're not careful and you let John take the reins, you're not going to have.
It might even be a cantrip.
It's not a cantrip. It's level 1 or level 2. But yeah, you can literally make it to where John just one shots everything in your game. So either have a defense against it, like maybe it's a hit point mechanic instead of just full on, oh no, there's no more water in this body, or tell them no, it doesn't work. Like put limits on things. There's nothing wrong with, it's not a homebrew to say create destroy water doesn't work on entities. You can add text to certain things. It's like this spell generates or destroys water in such and such cube. I don't have it in front of me. It does not work on living things. Cool. That's your tiny little bit of homebrew in a rules as written spell to blend
Simultaneously, and I know I've said this before, I know I'm a really new DM, so I've taken bits and pieces and I mimic from DMs that I both admire and trust. People like, like Chad and like Remus and like John. But also, I don't remember if it was Brendan Lee Mulligan or Matthew Mercer that said this, but the quote was like, I support player agency while also sitting there with the consequences mallet. So if you do want to play like a specifically rules as written game, yes, the spell can do that. But there is a difference between can and should. Because I would like to remind you, we have this thing called a Geneva Convention that's filled with war crimes.
Yeah.
Most of the spells in D&D would be classified as war crimes.
Side note, I've always hated the notion of like, and this kind of talks on what you were talking about with like Geneva Convention stuff. Like, I can, but should you? I've always hated when DMs say you can do whatever it is that you want to do, like create destroy water on a Kraken to one shot it. But that also means that I can do it too. I've always hated that.
Yeah.
Like the point,
you're just creating a fight in between the DM and the character. Like it's who can break who first.
Yeah, it's like you said,
gonna
it's
end in a TPK one way or the other.
Well, not even just that. It's just creating discourse. So if like I'm John's DM and he says, "Hey, I'm going to use Create Destroy Water to kill this Kraken and screw up Chad's entire layer action mechanics and epic boss fight and whatnot," this might be Norvian's quest, so to speak. Like, okay, cool. If you do that, then I can do that too. So then the next time there's a fight, oh no, here's a mage and he's going to cast Create Destroy Water on John. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, guess what? That sucks. I told you, you could do it. So could I. That's so shitty. It's crappy storytelling. And all it does is create animosity between me and John, not the dungeon master and the character, but Chad and John. Because now it's just like, oh, well, Chad's just going out of his way to make something anti-John.
Exactly.
That's
and to clarify, like, I don't want anyone to think that I'm picking on anybody.
Oh, you can pick on me.
So the way that I would, I can pick on you.
Everybody picks on me. What are you talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you kidding? You do nothing but pick on me for being a woman.
I show you nothing but love and admiration.
Can't even argue with me on that. You cannot even argue with me on
nothing
that,
but
Chad.
love and respect.
We love you, Sugar Bear. That being said, like the way that, and this isn't something that I've had to do yet, because like Chad said, I have a fantastic first time party. Everyone's super respectful, on board, and wants to collaborate, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
But simultaneously, like if someone does want to do something dumb with Create and Destroy Water, let's just stick with that. You know, you kill the Kraken by doing that. Okay, you know what? DM let something that maybe shouldn't have happened happen, but the DM also has the power to sit there and go, okay, well, you did that. And now every animal rights activist group and every legal group that is anti-animal cruelty is on your tail.
Yep. You can, as a DM, you can always add you can add your own repercussions for actions. That's what D&D is. It's a game of actions and consequences. Whether they're good or bad is completely up to the players. So kind of like what you were saying is like, I mean, I'm not going to say no because if you want to be a rules as written DM, I'm not going to say no because you can. I can add story elements to it, not so much to punish the player, but to add to that story.
Oh yeah.
You know, just because you can, looking at Remus, technically hemorrhage a god dragon from the inside, doesn't mean that outside of the very specific extenuating circumstances in which he did so, that would be probably considered an invasive war crime.
But the way that John handled that was, in my opinion, the perfect handle, because it gave him, it was like 3 turns of Remus literally doing nothing. Yeah. So if you were to talk about damage calculation, he did 3 turns worth of damage in 1 turn because he didn't do anything the other 2. So that's, to me, go ahead.
Oh, and then just mindset from that point was like, I was like, oh, I did not know what to do with that, but I was like, okay, we're gonna put the DM hat on right there. And it's like, well, you went down his throat, you're in his stomach, like, cool. Well, that has stomach acid, you're gonna take damage from that, like, you know, oh, well, I'm going to destroy it, like, I'm gonna get into his blood system, and it's like, okay, well, you can, like, internal bleeding's a thing, but, like, internal bleeding into your stomach takes, like, in the real world, forever to kill you, so you have to go to a more dangerous spot, and this is the giant dragon. 30 feet in the veins is a long distance. Like, veins go forever, so, like, yeah, you're gonna waste 3 or 4 turns.
Like, what was it, the average male, if you were to take all of their veins and stretch it out into one straight line, is like taller than a mountain.
Yeah.
something like that.
So it's like when you're taking into 30 feet of movement, it's like, okay, well, like, luckily you started in the stomach. You're close to some important stuff, but you're not,
Yeah.
you know.
Not quite there yet.
And meanwhile,
Yeah.
he's taking damage. Sloop, I think his name was Sloop. Sloop's taking damage. He's not
Glop.
dealing.
Glop.
Glop. He's taking damage. He's not dealing damage. And he could still fail a roll. Something could still happen.
Mhm.
So John,
I've always said
go ahead.
like the DM that I want to be is I want to be the DM that, yeah, I'll let you do some dumb shit, but we're gonna have a conversation to make sure that the story and everybody's enjoyment takes the front seat.
Yeah, I'm definitely a make it make sense kind of DM. Like even with rules
Yeah.
as written, like even homebrew stuff. If you
That's
wanted
something
to,
I stole from you. I've said that so many times.
Yeah, even with homebrew stuff or rules as written, like make it make sense. And then, because like I said, I'm very blessed to have an amazing table group off camera. Make it make sense. If you can make it make sense, let's see what we can do. And kind of like what John was saying, like, yeah, you can climb into this monster and try to reach down to the veins, but how anatomy works, let's go ahead and do this in tandem with it and further tell a better story.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's
And-
going into this dangerous situation. He's trying to stay out of the fray while also doing something from the back on the back end to support the party. It's a work in progress. But if you were to take damage calculation into effect, if Gloop were to just cast spells and just start doing things, probably he would have
About the
done
same.
about the same amount of damage anyways. But with less resources. He took a chance. John saw that moment. And he decided, you know what, we're gonna go against the rules as written. A little bit of rule of cool, and John's real life anatomy, and let's make it into a thing. Does that mean it's gonna happen every single time? Probably not. It's not gonna work on like a rock golem or a lava golem or something like that. Sure.
It's not going to work on a human-sized thing because, like, you're not going to be able to fit inside the human's mouth.
Yeah, this
So
was
you fit inside a dragon's mouth.
Yeah, this was a one and done deal. Not because it was a one shot. Because I would imagine like if this was a weekly thing with the Ravnica campaign or session, it would you would if it happened once, it may be one of those. Hey, that was really cool. I have to figure out a way to. If you want to continue this path, we have to sit down and make it. We have to make it work. Let's create a homebrew for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work on anything your size. It has to be giant or bigger. As an example, it's got to be giant or bigger. It has to have it's got to be living tissue, so pumping veins of some kind. It has to have that. So that's going to kick in medicine checks. That's going to kick in maybe survival and nature. So now you're adding more steps with this homebrew. So now you've created this homebrew by going against rules as written.
Yeah. Like, I mean, for another example, here, wait, let me double check with the DM before I say anything. Just because the NPC's been introduced, do you mind if I talk about the homebrew behind?
Go right ahead. You built it. Don't give away any plot.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not focusing on plot here. So we were Harley was talking to me and like backstory is originally when I built Hero, one of the characters that I was going to build beforehand was an arcane archer fighter. I love the idea of the arcane archer. They're kind of disappointing in D&D. They definitely could be better. And I was like, man, how, like, in my head as like a DM and like trying to think of homebrewing, like, how could you make this better? And I'm like, oh man, like, you know, there's got to be some other way to imbue spells with arrows and stuff like that and use it that way. And talking about this, Harley was looking for just an NPC for some storyline that she's telling. And I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if you could use like warlock abilities with with a bow? And so far we've so I got to build this entire character out with this idea, and she wanted to use it for an NPC, and it's the one that's made it into our game a couple times now, where we've had the arrows with like eldritch energy attached to it, and it's one of those like in the same way for an arcane archer, there's limitations, and you build an entire subclass around it. Like we had to build it. I had to sit down and build in a way to limit that this thing's not just like, casting like armor of, what is it? Armor of
Agathis.
Agathis. No, it's arms of Adia. That's okay. Yeah,
Arms
armor
of
of
Adar.
Agathis. Yeah, even arms of Adar on like an arrow and sending it. So like there's limitations on it and everything like that. But yeah, we ended up homebrewing this entire it wasn't, I don't even know if we went with subclass or weapon. I haven't looked at the sheet since I gave it to her.
I think you, me, and Nate spent like 2 or 3 hours on a phone call talking specifically about the bow.
Yeah. So I think it ended up being like we ended up using basically instead of making a subclass like Arcane Archer is, we found the best way to make it fit within the rules of D&D while still being homebrewed was basically a bow packed weapon that allowed for spells that allowed for warlock spells to be cast through it up to a certain limit and yada da da da. And yeah, and that it ended up making it into our game. And it's just one of those like I think my favorite part about D&D is just because it doesn't exist. Like if I wanted something where it's like I'm constrained to what exists, like you go play Oblivion or Baldur's Gate or some kind of RPG. Like Oblivion works very much like a D&D where you have main stats and substats and you build a class based off of that. And it's super cool, but you're stuck within the limits. Where with D&D, you can, if you have an idea for something just because you saw it in like a TV show 10 years ago, like you can build it homebrew wise as long as you take into account making it level with everybody else. Because honestly, some of the stuff that D&D comes out with, like we found out with my College of Spirits bard, is just as broken as like. I feel like that's what always scares people away from homebrew is like, oh well, what if we make it broken? It's like, dude, have you seen like, dude? There's some
I think for this campaign, we banned what was it, Unearthed Arcana, which to my knowledge is D&D sanctioned, because half of that shit is just so game breaking that it would not be enjoyable.
Yeah, most of it, and I know the community kind of agrees. Unearthed Arcana was kind of like a playtest kind of scenario, and when the newer expansions or the later expansions started coming out, they would take some of the Unearthed Arcana stuff, change up some of the the verbiage to not break the game, because rules as written, you could, like I said, create and destroy water for free, kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, action economy was a nightmare. Certain, like there was I think there was like a mystic class.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
which
I
is basically
think
just
of what is it called? I mean, I know not even from Unearthed Arcana, but like just from like types of builds that have broken games before, like a College of Swords bard multi-class into Battlemaster fighter and or bow fighter and something else, like assassin rogue. Like it's a triple multi-class, and that thing can like basically one-shot almost anything in the game, and like nobody else gets to play because it gets priority attack.
Yeah.
So
oh no,
I have
not
a
fighter.
question for you all about that. As more experienced players, when someone is metagaming to that extent, to the point of building their abilities and their classes to try to break the game, do you find they actually put the effort into making that make sense for their character, both background-wise and personality-wise, or does it usually come off as a, like, this is clearly just built to exploit the meta and not something that makes sense for the character?
One of the things you can do to eliminate that is zero session. Letting your players know, hey, this story is, depending on your players and whatnot, this story is going to have these themes, it's going to have these kinds of topics, your do's and your don'ts. One of the things that you could bring up is like, hey, I know you've been playing D&D for 10 years. You probably know more about D&D than I do, speaking as Chad, as a dungeon master. You have to put into because I do this in my zero session, play the game to have fun, not to beat. If you're just trying to beat Dungeons and Dragons, you're not telling a good story. Like, I'm a storyteller to kind of DM. Like, if I had to choose between an entire session, or excuse me, an entire campaign of nothing but role play, story, plot, puzzles, and no encounters, versus a game that is 90% encounters and a little bit of drizzle here and there of like plot hooks and where do we go, I'm going to choose the story. So if I had to, like, that's one way that you can eliminate that before it even comes to the table, is letting your players know, it's like, hey, have fun. Don't try to break my game, because you're not playing for you. You're playing with a table. You're playing with me. So that's one thing you could do. And then the second thing I would say was just vetting your players. Like I said, you've been playing for 10 years. I got you, John. You've been playing for 10 years. You probably know more than I do. Find out, if you can, find out how they've been playing their games. Like, if they've been playing for 10 years, why are they not in a campaign now? Why are they not DMing? Like, what research can you do? And I'm not saying like deep dive into their personal life or anything. It's like, especially if it's like an LGS or something. If you've been playing for 10 years and you're looking for a group, okay, cool. Did your campaign just end, or did your friends move, or whatever like that? It's like, no, we actually only got like 2 sessions in. It's been like that for the past couple of years. Like, to me, that's kind of like you only get like 2 or 3 sessions in, and you've been trying for like 2 years. It seems like an awful long time. I can literally just call up a friend of mine now and just, cool, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons, and we just play. So something's up. Tell me about your play style. Make a character. Let me see the character that you made. Make him level 8. I see what you're trying to do now. Okay, you're trying to triple multi-class so you can optimize combat, not have any kind of faults or weaknesses. That you're the problem child here. It's not because nobody wants to play with nobody can deal with it. It's because you want to take the fun out of the game, because you want to just look at numbers and not a story. And
I do want to interject and say there's nothing wrong with being a numbers combat focused player. But if you are a combat numbers focused player attempting to play at a table of RP and story focused people, it's not going to be fun for anybody. If that's your thing, by all means, we support you. Go find a table that agrees with you.
There's a table. I promise you there's a table. It might not be at your LGS. It might be online, though. I've done that before.
We all play online here because we all live in different parts of the country.
Yeah, I play with randos.
And like the big thing that Chad double checked me on, because again, Chad double checks me on a lot. He knows I'm a new game master. He knows that, like you've said, we've all made the dumb DM mistakes, and Chad is wonderful and tries to make sure I don't make a ton of those. That I learned the lesson not by trial and error. And one of the bigger things he said was, how are you going to handle it if I think just the hypothetical was like if someone's metagaming or not being honest. And I believe that the response I gave you was, if I can't trust them, they don't deserve a spot at my table.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to.
Go ahead, John.
I mean, kind of going off of Harley ended up touching on it. I would say I don't think there's anything wrong with min-maxers. Like, that's what I would call those types of players. They're min-maxers. And to them, that's their fun in D&D.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with min-maxers. As long as they're able to understand, like, for my tables, it's always, as long as they're able to understand that you will have your fun in combat, min-maxing and pumping out a bunch of damage and everything like that. As long as your min-maxing doesn't interrupt other people's fun, then I'm okay with it. Like, I've had players before where they know they're min-maxers. All they care about is how big can my numbers get? Because it's fun, it buzzes the brain, they're happy with it. But they know that this is, like, if it was our group, like, if it's Norvian's big moment. we're not, they're not gonna just be like, oh well, with my entire class setup, I can come in and kill this guy before Norvian even lifts his sword.
Like Harley set up this entire thing for Norvian to finally prove himself, and here's fucking Tank walking in, just like one-shotting everything and robbing Norvian of his storyline. Yeah.
Unless we were deliberately doing that for the character interaction later of Norvian being pissed as fuck that he got his opportunity to prove himself stolen.
Yeah.
As a DM, I would actively be like, okay, Tank, well, now you gotta deal with the consequences of your actions. Norvian, let loose.
Yeah, like, it's one of those, like, I think as long, like, because even me personally, I'm a bit of a min-maxer. Like, I'm not to the degree, like, I enjoy doing a lot of damage. I enjoy finding interesting, like, I wouldn't say I'm a min-maxer in, like, the big numbers go per way, but I'm a min-maxer in the way of, like, I want my combat to be interesting. If my entire combat is, all right, I swing with my sword, roll for damage. All right, cool. This is the damage I do next turn. Okay, swing with my sword, roll for damage. Like, I can't play like a fighter. Like, your basic fighter, can't do it. My brain loses. So, like, like, I pick College of Spirits Bard for hero because it's just like, oh, dude, like, this is crazy. And it's a lot to keep track of. I have fun with that. And not everybody does, and that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and, we're facing the big bad at the end of Phil's storyline, who obviously he's supposed to have his heroic moment right here, and then I come along being like, gotcha. Like, so as long as players understand that, as long as they can have fun while not impeding other people's fun, I am perfectly okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, I will build some, if you give me, it's like, I'll build bosses that are min-maxy bosses. Like, when I built the one-shot, it was legitimately, I'm going to make this very difficult because I'm giving everybody 14th level characters, and I'm expecting somebody to min-max it. Nobody did. So I definitely overestimated.
I promise you, brother. As soon as that level came up, I was like, "Ooh boy!" But Chad's brain kicks in and it's like, okay, this is one of those things where this is a fun little interact. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be challenging. If I'm gonna actually be challenged, I need to limit my DM brain. And I'm not trying to say it like I'm fantastic, but I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know how John thinks. So let's just go with something nice, simple. Just give me a barbarian, and I'll play a beat stick. That's my goal. I just play a beat stick, and all I cared about was his personality and his attachment with Void for reasons. That was it.
That's the thing, is I was 100%. I built this, and like that's why I had to cut the final boss short. Because I built this for like people to.
He expected us to be murder hobos.
I mean, I expected one person, because like at 14th level, again, one person can do like 500-600 in 2 rounds. 500-600 damage is nothing for some like 14th level character like min-max. So I like really pumped up those health numbers.
Yeah.
But now I know, because then I helped design for the one shot y'all did crossover.
Side note, I figured out the puzzle. I just had to I wanted Mr. Shepard to actually like tell his story. Just so we're clear. Chad knew.
Yeah. But no, more so I'm talking about the final boss was also a thing, and I was like, okay, so now knowing the type of people that I'm interacting with, they're not gonna min-max it. Okay, let me make this in a slightly different way, where because I don't want them to roll it over, but I also don't want them to die to it. Because like, if I really wanted, Bolas would have killed all of you.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, I limited my own abilities.
Trust me, I know.
Because I'm like,
But that's a good example of a good homebrew.
Yeah. So in response, like when I built this other one, I was like, okay, they're not going to be murder hobos. We don't got a min-maxer in the group who's going to do a bunch of damage. Chad's building the character sheets. I know he's not going to build anything that's going to be too out of line. So let me just build something that has levels of creativity to how you can play. and that's how we ended up getting. Because like the health difference was literally 100% less health. Because Bolas was 2,500 health, and I was expecting y'all to cause some damage. We got through 1,500 of it, so the boss for the Shepherd one shot was 250 health, and just ways to keep itself alive and heal.
Yeah. So Spencer, as the only true player, if you were to pick up a module, like for example, you came to my place and I've got an entire group. Everyone's been vetted. Everyone's just down to do whatever it is that you wanted to do, and I've got almost every D&D module you can imagine.
Yeah.
If you had to choose between, and you got all the prep time you could need,
Okay.
if you had to choose between a homebrew world or a module, and sticking to the module as best as you could, granted everyone's backstories and whatnot, sure, but
Yeah.
keeping to the module or creating your own world, what would you choose and why?
Okay. So for me personally, and are you saying if I was to be DMing or if I was just to be choose what we were playing?
You're the DM.
Okay, so if I was DMing, I have no DM experience, so what I would want to do is lean into something that I do have experience with, so at least the world and the characters would make sense. So even if I'm not an expert on mechanics, I'm sure someone has already come up with a Star Wars module for it. I think we've already talked that there is. So, I know a lot about Star Wars and, being the Star Wars content creator, all that stuff, but also playing all the Star Wars games, Knights of the Old Republic, which itself is like kind of an RPG style game. So I think if I went with something that was already established, but probably would that be considered like someone homebrewed it, right?
Yes.
Or is there an official module?
It's someone homebrewed it.
Okay, so it'd be a homebrew that I didn't homebrew, so I could kind of lean on my strengths for the world building and what abilities make sense. And that way it's something where I'm not trying to have to come up with every little thing, but I'm also able to rely on some of my strong suits of knowledge and, factions and groups and character interactions and creatures and biomes and all that sort of thing. So I think I would try to lean into something that I know a little bit more. So that would be my approach to it.
Okay.
And then, probably more, I imagine that a lot of it is unique stuff, but probably also some flavor text on existing abilities, I'd imagine too.
Your next campaign, Harley, would you want to do a homebrew or a module?
I want to do a homebrew.
You do homebrew?
Because I'd do homebrew. Module is very fun. I don't remember if this was in the podcast that we lost or if this was when we were just talking to talk. I honestly don't remember. But I think it was you that mentioned this to me, Chad. The modules are built to be easy mode. They are built to be for new DMs, for new people. And a module is a very good introductory for me. I picked Wild Beyond the Witchlight because I have watched Legends of Evantris play through Wild Beyond the Witchlight. So it felt like familiar enough territory that it was not too intimidating. I'd already kind of seen the kinds of encounters. I've seen, okay, when there's like this kind of conflict, this is a way you can handle it. I have kind of a baseline. But now that I have a baseline for how to be a DM, my little rat brain wants to try to push the limits and wants to test it, because you don't get better at something by staying in the safe zone.
Sure.
And homebrewing, there's a lot that you can do in D&D, but another project that we've been working on is we're working on building our own system. The magic system works completely differently than anything I've seen in any TTRPG before, because there's a lot you can do in D&D, but there are some situations where you use homebrew because you can't tell the story the way you want to tell the story with the raw rules.
Oh, but rules is written so I can do this. I don't know. I'm prejudiced against the extreme rules lawyers. Like I don't mean to say that everyone who wants to follow the rules is bad. No, by all means, it's good to understand the rules and how the mechanics work. you need to have a little bit, like me personally, especially with my games, you need to have a little bit of leeway and understanding that while you might be like John might be the most hard, he might be the encyclopedia with D&D and can tell you how many letters are in a spell. But I want as a DM, our job is to tell a story and have fun. That's our first and that's our number one job, is to have our players have fun.
Like, you got to be enough of a rules lawyer to make sure that people stick to the rules that everyone's agreed to.
Yeah, I think you need to have. It's not a bad idea to have like a rules lawyer in your groups. Just like you got a guy who wants to do the rule of cool thing and try to manipulate the spells and abilities, not so much just to be in that person's favor, excuse me, but for exciting combinations or role play or companionship between the players. And then the rules lawyer can come in and say, yeah, technically that would work. That actually does work that way. Cool. That's great. That's, to me, is when the rules lawyer is like most needed. Is when I don't like the term of picking sides, but I don't have a better way of explaining it. When you got the rules lawyer who is on the DM's side and say, actually, yeah, this does work, Chad. These two spells work in tandem. Like, if this happens, then this is the result. Like, that's fantastic, because John and Spencer's characters have a combo now that they can work on in story build. Thank you, rules lawyer. That's awesome.
Simultaneously, like, we've had moments in our campaign where I think it was Nate. It was sitting there and like he waited and he's like, hey, do what you want to do. This is what the book says, just so we all are aware of what the book says, but do what you think is best. Yeah. And I really appreciate things like that, because I'm trying to learn all the ins and outs that you have to know to DM, as well as all the parts of the mechanics that I didn't know, because there's classes I've never played before.
Yeah.
And having someone that knows the rules, and I wouldn't even say on the DM's side, I'd say on the side of telling a good story.
Yeah. If you want a good story, be less of a rules lawyer, but don't lose your fundamentals, like your fundamental mindset. Have that open mind of, I know what these things do. I know what's allowed. I know what mechanics work. Not so much like the meta, just understanding it, because I'm a numbers guy. Like, I understand where to put numbers. Be, in my personal opinion, be enough of a rules lawyer to where you can help everybody. Not so much of a rules lawyer as in you want to only look out for yourself with that meta build mentality. Be that meta build by all means. Like, I feel like every table should have somebody who can do, 400 points of damage in one turn in a level 16 fight. Sure. But that still means that there are maybe the other players are supporting the meta guy, and that's what everybody wants. If it makes the table happy, do it. So the I don't want to call him the rules lawyer, but the meta guy who follows raw down to a T, and then everybody and their mother is supporting this guy. If it's what the party wants, I'm with John. Let him shine. Let him go. Let him tell his story. If everybody wants to be a side character or a supporting cast, if that's what the players want, do it. And with that, we're going to go to our next topic, because we've been talking a whole lot about different kinds of players and everything. Our favorite types of players. And I know we're going to be probably talking, saying a lot of the same things or similar things that we've just been talking about. But I'll break the ice on that. My favorite types of players, honestly, are the kinds of players that bring ambience and environment to the session itself. Like, not even to the story. We haven't even gotten to the rolling of the dice aspect yet. But people that, hey, I brought some snacks, I brought some chips. What does everybody want? Hey, I got some lights. Have you heard about this artist who makes D&D music? Like, the player that wants to bring just that to step up everybody's game up just by sheer environmental joy. That to me is top tier. Like, you can have the best storyteller, you can have the funniest player, but you got the guy that brings everybody a case of cookies to eat during session. That, to me, it tells me that the player is there for the players.
Said it before and I'll say it again. If we were playing in person, I would absolutely be bribable with snacks.
Oh, my wife does that. When I'm DMing, she'll be like, "Hey, babe, I want to like, when we're building our character, can I have this thing?" It's like, "Babe, nobody else is getting this." "I know. I'll make you your favorite nachos." Fine, fuck, whatever.
Back of your head, you're going, "Fuck yeah, nachos."
Yeah, nachos.
Honestly,
I
think
that's my favorite. Is the guy or girl
absolutely
who wants the people themselves to be in a better spot.
Piggybacking.
I love it.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, the player that doesn't take themselves or the game too seriously. Like, yeah, we're all here to play a game, but when you've got, that one player that's like, Blackthorn Dagger Fist or something, and he's just that broody in the corner, dressed in all black rogue assassin type character that only cares about his storyline and takes it so seriously. Cool. Love that you're having fun. You can do that same thing playing Baldur's Gate 3, Oblivion, any video game RPG. I like the guy, like Remus, who comes in, does a silly little voice, and has been supporting other characters in their growth so that we can all play and have fun. And we've had some very serious Phil moments as well. But that was kind of because Harley was like, well, I want to try my hand at this. I've got a good idea. And Remus let me do it. Phil was built to be the party dad and to support everybody because Remus just thought that would be fun.
We're all his baby boys.
You are.
I mean, for me, I think my favorite player is the storyline players. Like, I enjoy storytelling. I think I'm very good at building a world and very good at putting a story on a track. But it's always nice to have players who can build their own storylines. And I try as a player to also be a part of that as well, because I know as a DM it's helpful. Because as much as you can push somebody down a track and you can kind of build the story around them, I'm not comfortable is not the right word. I don't think I do a quality job when I have to sit here and basically, narrate a character's story. So when I have players who will, go off on their own storylines based off of what I've given them and actually create something with that or create something within the party, that is far and away my favorite. I used the example in our first podcast of the guy who I was ready to end the campaign and he was like, "Can I do one more thing real quick?" And then just gave this epic speech of coming back to honor his friends. And I'm like, holy, calm down. But in reality,
I didn't need these feelings today.
Yeah, but in reality, it's fantastic as a DM to watch a player do that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine when Chad in real life is crying when Ganta finally gets to read a recipe, but he can't taste it, and he knows that this thing can hurt somebody, and he's scared, but he has to keep going, he has to keep trying. I'm imagine that kind of tickled your fancy. It's
oh yeah,
Chad in real life was honestly, crying, trying to not to sell the bit, but to literally get into character and really tell the story.
Honestly, we are very lucky that I think Harley's lucky in the sense that all of us enjoy building those stories between us.
Yeah. It also helps that we're all dumb idiots that want the same thing. We want to make each other laugh. We want to piss each other off.
I knew what I wanted in players, and it is a certain level of dumbass.
I mean, more so we make the joke all the time where it's our episodes are 90% dumbassery, and the last 30 minutes is trauma.
The last one we did 100% dumbassery, and it was great.
Oh yeah, I mean we've also done 100% trauma on some of these too.
I think
Like,
I think part of that, in all honesty, is because like after sessions, like some of us hang out after a session, we just BS and chill and whatnot. We've probably mentioned it enough times to where like it triggered something in our heads to be like, maybe we should like try not to trauma dump, because we it's a running joke that it's 2.5 hours of stupidity, and then we can't end an episode without Ganta fucking crying or Hero being broody.
I mean, like we're like, and that's the thing. It was really funny because the minute we got to the Feywild, because pre-Feywild it was like, hey, let's go on a roller coaster. Trauma, like stupidity, trauma, stupidity, trauma, stupidity, trauma, and like that. And then we got to the Feywild, and it's like, okay, there's so much going on, and the minute we get a chance to chill out, like trauma.
My bad.
Well, no, it's in all honesty, like
it's our bad. Honestly.
It's our bad because we all have that notion of like we want to grow our characters. Like we're putting on a show for you guys. You know what I mean? Like the audience here listening to this podcast / watching. We want to tell the story. Is it really fun to just follow the book and yep, let's go this way. Roll dice. Hey, there's bunnies. Kill bunny. Grab Agden. Where's this thing? We go to the thing. That's not enjoyable to watch, and that's not enjoyable to play or tell or grow. Insert adjective, adverb.
Mm.
We all have that innate ability to want to just be like, cool, Hero is fine with losing stuff. Ganta doesn't want Hero to lose things. Like, this confliction right here is 30 minutes of storytelling, and it's just Chad and John just playing their base character notions. Like Ganta doesn't want John to give stuff up. The whole reason we're here is because something was taken from us. Why would we want to lose more things? Go check out that episode. Why would we want to lose more things?
The most fun I've ever had as a DM was the episode right before the dream sequence where Hero took off his shirt. There were a ton of just scarring everywhere. And I shut the fuck up and sat back and watched my little soap opera play out in front of me.
Yeah, I think the last line that I said on that whole episode was, "Oh yeah, I don't mean to. I'm not Phil. I don't have words of wisdom like he does. But sometimes the scars that you can see are better than the ones that you can't."
Yeah,
you can't get that in a freaking module. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, it
was all because Hero. It's all because John decided, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna take my shirt off. You guys are gonna see this stuff. None of that storytelling would have happened without John just taking 2 seconds to make a statement. Everybody got to see that. Go ahead.
Right. So far, my favorite moment lately that like just stands out that we haven't addressed yet, and it just happened. And
oh boy,
it should be coming out after this episode.
Fix your mic, please.
Oh, my bad. I'm just leaning back. The episode should come out before this podcast, if I remember correctly. But just in case it doesn't.
If it was recorded before this podcast, it will come out before this podcast.
Yeah, I go in order.
Yeah, so
with the exception of the one shots, they kind of come in if they're kind of space fillers. If something were to happen with like editing or time constraints, I can put a one shot somewhere, but that's the schedule. We don't really have one except for the main campaign every Friday.
We haven't gotten to address the moment yet, but I very much enjoyed the moment of like Phil getting ready to fight at the end of the episode, and Hero just being like, "Fuck it, we're going for a fist fight."
Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball.
Like literally, like here's this, like just for me, like as a character moment, like here's this spellcaster who literally in a spell versus spell battle could basically kill most people that we come across. But I'm out of spell. Like I used all the spells fighting Norvian. That's a whole thing. I'm out of everything, and like literally all I've got to deal with my friend at this moment, if he doesn't before he kills everybody, is to just get into a fist fight and hope I don't die.
If you
While-
died, the rest of us probably would have died. Like, I would have died immediately after.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're like, hey, Norvian, back me up, even though you're half dead.
yeah, I'm waiting for a moment where, like, and I'm not blaming Harley by any means. She's doing an amazing job. I'm waiting for a moment where we can have like that Ganta's Kitchen episode that we did, where it was literally just the Harlequins traveling, or the charm kitchen episode.
Oh, I have another one planned. We actually
Yeah.
are having one of those soon. I just want to resolve some stuff before we get there.
So when that'll be a way to like just unload on each other with the trauma dumping and okay, cool. Hey, Hero, I actually see your point now with I'm not going to spoil anything with what I want to do, but in a nutshell, I'm waiting for a moment where Ganta can have that acceptance, or he's got the acceptance. Now he needs to apply it. So
Yeah.
Chad's waiting for a moment where he can interact, less story and like interact with Hero and Norvian. He got to watch them fight, so he took up some tips and tricks. He finally has some weapons. So let's have Ganta grow and develop and actually be useful in Hero's and Lathier's eyes. Like that's one of the things that Hero keeps dogging on Ganta, for example. Ganta on is like, you can't do shit. We need you. You help us out. You keep us fed. You keep us healthy and strong. But when it comes down to survival, you kind of are useless. And Ganta's like, yeah, I know. I want to fix that. Let me fix it. Someone teach me.
No, I'm just gonna shit talk you the entire time.
Just shit talk.
No, I mean, like, even so, like, the moment, like, oh god, the moment where here, like, the surprising character growth, because I don't want to just film moments. The surprising character growth between Phil and Hero, where it's almost like they've somehow, like, the Hero has somehow become a mirror of like young Phil.
Yeah.
And like that was not planned.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of going what you were talking about. Your favorite type of player is the people who spends that last 30 minutes of a session to make that speech kind of player, like really driving home a fact or driving home a development issue or a characteristic. Is John being able to watch it on the player side, not the DM side, and see Hero as a young Phil. Just because of a random thing, just like with Ganta and Hero, you took your shirt off. Just a random fucking thing. I didn't have to say anything. It's like, oh, dude, nice scars or nice cock, bro. No, we turned it into a thing.
I mean, even still,
I'm
like,
your favorite character.
Even still, the whole, I didn't realize it until recent episodes, but I was like, oh man, we set up this whole like. Phil and Hero are mirrors of each other because, like, way back in the carnival, Phil looked at Ganta and was like, "I don't think you're pushing the right buttons with that. Like, he has some, he's seen more shit than you know for an 18-year-old." And it's just like that moment of just like, "Oh yeah, hey, you, me, yeah, I gotcha. I got where we're at." And like now we're 20 episodes later, and it's just like still growing.
Yeah, and I know that all of that is just tickling your fancy.
Oh yeah, I mean, segueing.
I watch every single episode when I edit. Like I'll do my pre-edits and whatnot. I'll cut out all the dead spaces and the breaks and the intro outro, and I'll level everything out. But I have to watch every single episode. Not anymore because I took over all the recording. Not blaming Harley, but when I do edits, sometimes her video and her audio get sectioned off, so now I got to find that spot. So then I got to clip that and then readjust. So I have to watch the entire episode. So I hear all of this twice.
A second time, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you catch things that you didn't the first time too.
Yep. And I try not to metagame on that. If Ganta wouldn't have known, I'm not going to write it down.
Segueing because Spencer's been stuck quiet for a while.
Well, we really only had two people talk about favorite characters so far.
Yeah.
Or favorite player, favorite types of players. Excuse me.
No, 3. All 3 of us have said something.
Oh yeah. I forgot the woman.
Yeah,
I forgot the woman. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. one I wanted to ask. I was about to be like, hey Spencer, let's put you on the hot seat. So since we're your first D&D table, who's your favorite character?
Ooh,
Answer
okay.
that
So,
very carefully.
favorite
I am your editor.
All right, so favorite character and favorite character for Norvian to interact with are probably going to be different things.
That's fine.
Because
Okay.
I feel like so far Norvian has had the best interactions with Hero, kind of
I can
just
agree.
butting heads a little bit, both because of their kind of contrasting upbringings, but also just the way that things planned out, you know, with the fight and everything. So I think that Norvian's best interaction so far is with Hero, but I also feel it building with Ganta too. Like I feel like it's kind of a developing relationship.
It's a love
where at
story,
first it was,
Yeah.
yeah. Like it's
I
had
haven't
the
forgotten
funny
about
love
those, by
story
the way.
parts.
That's why
It's-
Ganta's always constantly looking at his notes and he sees like the little heart-shaped dots and he brings that shit up. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Ganta will
Best,
remember this.
absolute best fake curse we've ever done. I am
I don't know, the
sold.
tongue is
Oh,
still
yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Shout out to my daughter for actually picking that one for Phil.
I still owe her another fake curse.
We'll get to that. So, Hero is your favorite for
Or
Norvian.
bouncing off of Norvian.
What is
favorite
Spencer's favorite character?
Okay, so favorite character, it kind of depends on the episode too.
That's fair.
So, you know, it's kind of like where are things going with for each character. You know, it depends if I'm just in the mood for silly shenanigans. You know, Lather's just a giant goofball of unpredictability and insanity. And then, you know, Phil is just this mystery of what exactly is going to go on with him. And, you know, sometimes he's, you know, silly ranting OSHA guy, but
He's
then
a
sometimes it's
freaking
kind of
menace.
like, sometimes it's kind of like, you know, almost like a Kratos from the new God of War games vibe, where like he's clearly putting on an act to be this calm and reasonable person with a past that I don't know in character or out of character. But
I do. It's great.
okay. But then, you know, I feel every character has their own elements that are really interesting. And of course, as a big One Piece fan, Ganta's also an interesting character, being built off of Sanji, but with plenty of his own flair. And I do think that our entire, you know, getting back to what makes a good campaign and role-playing and story versus combat, you know, I feel like we almost have that more of, you know, fleshing out the world and the characters and motivations and interactions would be more similar to a One Piece than something like a Dragon Ball Z where it's like you're watching for the fights. You know,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the combat is fun, but it's the characters and their motivations and their backstories and their interactions and their ambitions and their dreams that motivates the interaction between the characters and gives us more to build off of and circle back to later, where combat is usually like a one and done thing, where these interactions can keep building off each other and us as characters can choose what we want to explore with our interactions between other characters. Like you said, you didn't have to interact with Hero's scars, you chose to interact with it, and we could circle back around to those interactions if we want or not. So it allows us to kind of keep things fresh beyond, like you said, just, you know, find objective, seek objective, fight objective, next objective.
Joke's on you. I watched the hub for the plot. So it's a weird situation to put you in, Spencer, because the topic is like favorite types of players. We do in a sense, like something I was talking about, like the guy who brings the environment. We have the guy who, like John was saying, we got everybody tries their best to tell their story and build the story, going out of their way to do that. Let me rephrase, going out of their way to build the story. So like you as the only true player who's never DM before, I think the question is not a person, but what's your favorite trope that a player has brought to this table so far?
Okay, so what I like is when a player knows when to take the lead with their character, but also when to either defer to somebody else when they're taking the lead, or kind of give that push of like, okay, you know, I'm gonna kind of push this character or incentivize them, like, you know, especially towards the beginning. I feel like I'm kind of more vocal and able to better express Norvian, but at the beginning I know, the whole group did a good job of kind of engaging with Norvian and allowing him to, if he can't think of anything to say at first, let's interact with him, see what he thinks, and kind of put me on the spot, but, in a pretty chill way. So I think a player that knows when it's time for their character to shine, when it's time for someone else to shine, and kind of just encouraging other people to be involved is probably what I like the most as a newer player, because it, allows me to take a more active role when I feel comfortable and want to, but also allows for those times when either there's nothing for me to do or I don't really know what would be best, that I can kind of just take a back seat to someone else running the point for their character.
Yeah, meanwhile, while all of that is happening, you're getting tips and tricks.
Exactly.
Like, you're starting to understand, it's like, okay, this is probably a good time to maybe a mechanical thing. Like, this probably like I'm a prince fighter. Like, I think this would be a good time for me to check. Maybe it's an athletics thing. Maybe because you weren't sure how athletics work, but you got to see Phil try his hand at it. Maybe for spell stuff with Lathier, because y'all two have similar casting spell casting stuff. You might not have been able to take the reins on it, so you kind of, maybe me or John or Remus, like, hey, Nate, this is more your domain. Being able to see all of these is not only just like supporting the characters, but also helping other players as well, like getting more confidence. I forget what the actual term is, but when it's like psychological safety. So when you're able to say something or do a thing or present an idea without the fear of being shot down or rejected or unincluded.
Immersion therapy.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
So now, with that being said, we're gonna go to our next topic. It kind of goes hand in hand. So if you guys are cool with it, because we're already at an hour and a half, we can kind of skip it a little bit. It's green flag players. That's kind of like it kind of goes into our favorite kind of players. Like, we can give like a quick list of like our green flag players that we will always want to see. We can just like a speed run for that one. If you guys are cool with it.
I'm sticking with mine. The people that just actively don't take this too seriously and prioritize fun over being that serious badass.
Yeah. My green flag, I'm just gonna speed run this. My green flag players, like I said, the guys and gals, we're all inclusive here, that want to bring immersion. So the person who brings drinks and snacks. Hey Chad, I noticed that you hand jam all of the spell cards. I bought you the D&D spell cards, like stuff just to help out the party. Maybe with lighting, maybe music, research. Another green flag player to me is kind of going off of kind of what you were saying just a little bit, Spencer. Knowing when to push, also knowing when to shut up. Like, we all have ADD, we all have some kind of spectrum instance. Being able to say, I'm going to hold off on the dick joke. John and Spencer are having a serious moment. Green flag players. I love them because you can't get them to shut up, but they'll shut up for John and Spencer having a moment. I've always been the kind of person, like, you don't have minis or dice, I don't care. I supply all that stuff anyways. But somebody who's like, hey, I got dice to match my character hero. Like, they're red. They got the little eyes or something in the bottom or in the middle of it. Like, those guys, the stuff that take playing seriously. Not a serious person, but take playing seriously. Like, those are probably my top three.
I think, obviously, like I said, storyline people, great. My two and my three would be one, and they kind of go together. I'm a big fan of players who are able to help out other players. Like, the type of player who everybody at the table leans over to and goes, before they ask the DM, goes, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Like,
yeah.
do you think this is going to work out? And they're just like, oh, well, you could do it. Like, those types of players, the player that answers all those questions and makes people feel that comfortable to like, hey, if you got a question about how something works, like, come on. Love those.
Would you feel like would that bleed into your anti-meta mentality? Like, I know we talked about it before. It was like, hey, I don't mind that you guys like have discussions like in combat with what the best option is, but there's still a limit to what I'm going to allow. Would you feel like that would kind of fall into a thing, or is this like a very specific case of like this is a new player who needs help?
This and like it's not even just like a new player, but like sometimes like, you know, hey, I'm playing a druid for the first time. I've played for 10 years, but I've never played a druid. How does this work? Oh, this guy's, you know, I know this guy's played a druid our last campaign. I'm going to talk to him. And like, it's not even combat related. It's just like maybe, you know, I think there's a difference between being like avoiding meta and, you know, like it's not like they're looking to be like, hey, I'm planning on doing this. What are you planning on doing so we can work out a plan? I'm talking more so like, hey, this is my idea for the moment. Like, for example, going back to teleporting the 7 Herringons off the bridge.
Classic hero.
Because I know as a DM, like, this wording fits, and like, just, you know, I double checked, like, hey, this is how this thing works because I just got it last.
Oh, I did it with you. I was reading it with you. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, well, like that was the thing. Is like I double checked everything, and I was like, I can do this. I just need to make sure the crown works properly, like I thought it did. Cool. But in another instance, as a not like thinking from as a non-DM player, like, you know, if Spencer was in my same exact position and was reading this and went, oh, kind of like another comparison, Magic the Gathering. You're playing a brand new deck. There's a spell that you don't know, and you read it, and you're like, I think it works like this. But you have your buddy next to you, and you just go, hey, is this what it says? Like,
okay.
Am I right?
I get what you're saying.
Like, in that same way. So it's not really breaking the meta as much as... Yeah. It's not really breaking the meta as much as just, like, having another person's eyes on its make, but having that person at the table that they all feel comfortable talking to. Like, our veteran is here. Like, cool, let me ask you.
Okay.
Love it.
Piggybacking on that before I forget, all of you, in the sense that as a new DM, none of you have like gotten weird or judged me for things that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
If you judge me, you don't do it out loud.
Out loud. There
like,
we go.
Out loud. That's the key. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm a judgmental bitch. I just do it quietly.
I don't know anything, so I can't possibly.
I'm kidding, Boogie. I'm kidding. You're good.
No,
you're good.
I think my other green flag players are oh god, now my brain's blanking. That brain. It was something to do with like character sheets, but I can't remember.
You got this, babe. I believe in you.
It's okay. My brain doesn't have to work right now.
We can come back to you until you figure it out if you want.
No, it's fine. It's not a huge deal. It was something along the lines of like, you know, in the same sense of somebody answering questions, having like people who show up, people showing up ready, but in the sense of like, you know, creating backup characters and like
being prepared,
being prepared for anything. Like they don't just show up being like, I got my character sheet, I got my dice, I'm good to go. It's just like, you know, oh, I have other things game wise set up, like, you know, people who bring minis, because I don't play with minis a lot.
I do.
Like
I'm a snob.
Yeah,
I do.
It's not a thing I ever really got into. I know people who do. So when people bring minis and like all the extra stuff, kind of like, you know, just stuff that shows that they give an extra level of like a shit about it.
Yeah. Like kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like people playing the game serious versus being a serious person.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Spencer? As the only player, your top 3 green flags. Go.
All right. So the first one would be a player that cares about the other players, both in the sense of them having a good time, but also in allowing their characters to go through their story arcs. You know, someone who's not just, you know, steamrolling through things of like, oh, well, it's not my turn, so I'm either just gonna kind of push things through to be my turn again, or oh, I'm just gonna disassociate anytime it's not my turn because I only care about my player being cool, badass edgelord guy. So like players that respect the other players wanting to build their character and tell their story, and also make sure that, the players are comfortable with everything going on too, would be one. And then the second one, kind of building off that, would be the players who also respect the DM, and someone who's not constantly fighting with the DM, and someone who's vibing with the rules of the story, kind of relating to the meta game, not like trying to break the game, but also, if you could tell the DM wants something to go in a certain way, not just totally being like, oh, well, I want to do this because my character would do this, and derailing the whole party and derailing the whole thing. And, just like murder hoboing, or just like, oh, well, I don't want to do anything. So someone who respects the themes of the world and the campaign and the game, and just allows things to run smoothly. They could put their own twist on it, but, it should still fit the vibes of what the DM is going for. So if all the players and the DMs are all on the same page for it, I think, then it's, you're fighting the enemies the DM creates. You're not fighting the DM themselves. And then that breeds animosity with the players, because the players are picking sides. Do they side with the other player? Do they side with the DM? And I'm just glad we don't have any of that garbage.
No, Spencer, you must beat me in hand-to-hand combat.
Time for a revolution.
Let's go.
I'm telling you, I'm losing that fight.
I want you to know my brain just provided me with a one-shot idea that we have to wait like probably 2 years for.
Oh no.
And I'm kind of disappointed in it, but a way to cap off the campaign. So I would have to wait till we're done with the campaign to run this idea.
I don't know if it's going to take us 2 years.
We're on chapter 2. Maybe
Yeah.
if we keep with the schedule, maybe a year.
I was gonna say like 3-4 episodes will probably be done with chapter 2 is my guess, judging by how
Sounds about right.
pissed off Hero made Bevel. She's coming for us soon. Who would have thought?
So
be careful what you play with, little hero.
So just for everyone's knowledge, yes, I've stated on camera that I've played this campaign before. We never actually got to Bavlorna before life happened. So I'm one of those, I don't care for spoilers. It doesn't bother me. But out of respect for Harley, I don't want to read ahead. Like, I don't know anyone's backstories. I just know numbers. I just make sure, all I did when Harley asked me to kind of proofread things, I just made sure the numbers were in the right place. That is all that I did. I don't know Spencer's or Remus's or Nate. I know literally nothing about anyone's backstories. A little bit of Luna's, but that's because we built it together. But I gave him like we went back and forth, and we came up with a vague idea for his backstory. And then I was like, cool, don't tell me anymore. Figure it out on your own. I'll help you with mechanics if you need to. So that's the extent of everything that I know.
See, funny enough, I'm on the exact opposite end of that.
Ah, you bitch.
No, not. Look, I live with our DM. Anytime she's like, I have an idea, hear me out. Luckily, I don't mind spoilers.
You can just see Hero like, I'm gonna read all the way to chapter 25, and I'm gonna know the ending of this bitch.
I bounced so much shit off John because I still don't know if it's a good idea or not, because that imposter syndrome just gets to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trust me, I haven't read the book. I have not read a single page of this book. But everybody, yes, I have to know I know everybody's backstory. I know the
You don't know Luna's.
I don't know Luna's.
Oh, wait, you know mine? You bitch.
I think he only knows what you've discussed publicly, but your backstory has been a bit more public than the rest of the party's backstory.
I did it that. A part of me did it that way because you were brand new. I wanted you to have all the information that you needed, and we had Spencer who's never played before, and I'm not going to hide anything from John. That's my bae. So
I thought that was Remus.
Everyone's my bae if they don't have if they got man parts. But No, part of the reason why I did that, and we had talked about it off camera, is like, are you cool with me posting this such and such? Yeah, absolutely, do it. Part of the reason is literally because you said specifically, Spencer's playing. He's never played before. He doesn't know what to do. Not insulting you, but you've never done this before. It'd be like you've never heard of baseball before, and then I put you at second base and tell you, here, do things. You don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool. Here's what I have. Take it. Maybe it's inspiration, maybe it's an understanding of things, maybe it's a starting point, maybe you wanted to make a character that was related to my character. Like, I was going to let Harley run completely free with it.
Yeah, like, for my end, it doesn't, like, I have said it before on this podcast multiple times. I as a player, I am perfectly okay with being the plot device. I do not need to be the MC of this entire thing. I get to have my moments in the sun, but, like, I am a plot device. It is perfectly fine, and I will continue to be a plot device until the end of this campaign.
I say it constantly. I don't want to be the main character, but I am constantly the main character. Like, even Harley mentioned it today, like the carnival. She had so much Ganta chat stuff just saved on her phone because, like, I finally get to play. I have to be fair. I finally got to play. I did cut loose. I probably shouldn't have cut loose as much, but
I don't mind it.
We're like,
oh no,
session 1 through like 9 or 8 or whatever when we were at the carnival was meant for fun, stupid stuff.
Well, everyone was on drugs too, so like it makes
so many drugs.
I finally got to make a swan song. Like, come on! I made a song about feathering.
It's your
you
swamp
have
song.
You have no idea how much it broke my heart to cut that from the Ganta highlight reel because I couldn't hear you well enough over the background music that I put on there.
Oh, you could have just cut the music. Either way.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. Like, for me, on the like, it was funny because I set my entire backstory and character up, and if you go look at, like, if you just look at mine, it's like 4 paragraphs. Like, I put a shit ton of information in there because, again, love story building. And it's funny because knowing where my own character is headed to some extent, like, she's kept a lot of my character stuff hidden, but there was one thing early on that I was like, hey, I want to get to this point. Like, truthfully, like, the thought crossed my mind, and I think this is where I want my story to get to.
I did the same thing.
And yeah,
I completely agree with you. I did the same thing. Like, literally what she was talking about. Once I get to a certain point, stop talking about Ganta. That's it.
Ganta becomes supporting cast.
Yep. Stop talking about Ganta.
And that's the thing. It's like,
speaking of which, Spencer, at some time you and I need to have this conversation about Norvian because we're coming up on some Norvian soon.
And we're like, you know, I was just like, whatever you want to do after that. I have a backup character sheet, you know. And that entire backup character is literally a plot device and nothing else. Like, I don't need a story for him. Like, he is just there to do damage and help the party out in fights. So I'm not there.
Likely.
Yeah, basically. And
I just put your backup character in the campaign and said, "Have
fuck
fun."
you, by the way, for making me do two characters at once.
I love you, Sugar Bear.
That had to interact with each other. But it's just one of those things of, like, she's bounced every idea off of me. I know where everybody is going, and I have put my input in. Like, if she's just like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, I'm like, how about, like, change it up slightly this way? I think it would create a bigger story. Like, it would create a bigger moment. And she's just like, cool. And then I don't know what she's done from there. But yeah, I know everything about everybody. There are some things that were added on to characters later because, like, since I have this information sitting in my brain, I'm like, oh, I have an idea. Can we call up X person? Call up X person. Hey, this was an idea. Oh, I love it. All right, that's in the character. And it's just like
manipulation at its finest.
Great, yeah. No,
listen, I said it before and I'll say it again. What we do for our favorite little pastime is we just sit here emotionally manipulating our friends.
Yeah. One of the reasons I did not read ahead or read anybody's characters because it was like I called Harley and it was like session 2 or 3, maybe 4, I can't remember. I was toasted. I was drunk. And I was just going off the bandwagon and I was just saying things, and I know enough of what Chad is like that he's just gonna start spurting stuff. So like I can't even say anything now because I just legit don't know. But I'm fairly certain that if I read everyone's stuff, I would be like, "Hey, Azul, what happened to that thing that you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z with?" Like, now I've just ruined the fucking story. So that's why I don't drink on camera anymore. I might have like a shot or something, but like
No, like it's
I don't
one
know.
of those.
Toasty Chad can be kind of fun. I feel like we should have a completely toasted one shot where
a one shot.
The rules don't apply.
Absolutely, John, get on it. Drunk DM.
Oh, hey, you.
Hey, John, D&D drinking game. Let's go.
Okay. What is it?
Yeah,
No, like
a
it's
breathalyzer. You have to have a certain blood alcohol.
Everyone's just got a breathalyzer, and that's your D20.
oh no, I would literally make it where like you're fighting a booze monster, and every time it hits you in the game with an attack, you have to take a shot in real life.
Yeah, I like it.
Just
we're getting way off topic.
You got hit with this. Now you got to chug a beer. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no.
I know where we're going next, and I have a fun little game I'd like to play for our next topic.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Spencer, the next topic is red flag players.
Are they?
Why don't you list?
Are they? Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Why don't you list the things that you never want to play with in D&D, the types of things you never want to have to encounter, or like things you've seen online that you never want to play with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
and if the three of us have played with it, we'll raise our hands.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna pick the lowest of the low-hanging fruit and go with the creepy person. Usually creepy dude, but creepy person. You know, I don't think I need to elaborate on that further. I think everyone knows. You know, even if they haven't played D&D with them, everyone's met that person before. So,
Oh yeah, go to a game shop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the lowest of the low-hanging fruit.
The guy that's over here just like sniffing his dice.
That has to try to seduce anything even vaguely female.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
So that would be one, you know, obvious
it plays the
one.
rogue, you know.
And then a second one would be someone like kind of just the inverse of the green flag, someone who only cares about their character and is clearly like disinterested in anything that doesn't revolve around them. So that would be a red flag, is someone who just wants it to always be a show about their character and doesn't care about the world building or the interaction between other characters.
I actually haven't played with that one yet. I've been lucky.
You're welcome.
So knock on wood. And if I had to pick a third, those are the two obvious ones. So the third would be someone who displays more from a DM perspective, but would be someone who displays clear favoritism, either benefiting someone or like just targeting someone. Like, oh, you know, you're always getting critical hits against this one player. Like, oh, this one player is always just getting this crazy ass loot, or like something where you're either favoring or punishing a player for a reason that maybe you do know, maybe you don't know, but not giving fair treatment to the players.
You're gonna hate me. I was that DM once. Favoritism.
It's growth. It's growth.
Well, there is reason. It was my nephew, and he wanted to really get into Dungeons and Dragons, and he wanted to do like a samurai paladin. So we finagled some of the numbers a little bit to kind of make things work out in his favor. And when it finally came down for his story and his loot, yeah, I don't regret it, because big smiles. But let's just say that his dad was a piece of shit and was jealous for some reason of his own son. But he definitely got the bigger slice of pie in comparison to anybody else has had that entire campaign. Not just that session or that combat, but the entire campaign. Like if
It also sounds like he's a kid though, right? Like,
Yeah, in that sense, you're talking about a child.
I know.
Yeah.
But I did it in a way, and this is where the bad side comes in. Like if I've got 6 players, if we're doing like a major story driven plot battle, like a boss or like a quest completion or something like that, like you 3 right now, And then I would give, like, if this is Spencer's boss, obviously Spencer's going to get the biggest loot. Maybe it's a weapon or an armor or like a charm or something, or maybe a homebrew creation. Yeah. And then John and Harley might get something like maybe John's a rogue, so he gets a +1 dagger. Harley's a druid, so she gets a like a scroll of cure wounds for free or something. Nothing too crazy or broken. But Spencer, he gets, you know, the +1 sword, the +1 shield. He gets like a sun amulet, and he gets like boots and like 1,000 gold. Like, it's specifically because of Spencer, but that also tells me that he's not going to get shit for a very hot minute. Mm-hmm. The way that I presented it, this is where the favoritism came in, where I was that guy that everyone felt like I was showing favoritism, was overhyping my nephew.
I get you.
And out of a bit was kind of shitting on his dad and his character, because he was my red flag player anyways. So I felt like this would have been funny to just be like, hey, fuck you.
Understand.
I can't say out loud, but
like I said, I'm not going to say I don't understand it, but I understand kind of where the regret can come from, and you know what, I could have handled that better. Yeah,
I've been waiting for a moment for a while, because like I said, like, super serious moment between John and Spencer and Harley's dick joke. I can't stand that. That's we can go back on my red flag players, but I can't stand that. Like, let players play. Yeah. That was him. That was his dad. Everything had to be a joke. Everything had to be funny. He not derailing the campaign, but derailing like story progression because of a funny bit. And like, I get funny. We can have a good time. But if we're talking about a little girl who just got mauled by bears, and your goal is to get her to the nearest freaking hospital, and as you're carrying this little girl, you want to step in.
The hospital has bare necessities.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I would expect that from Phil, because it's ingrained into it. That's ingrained into his character. I'm talking about like, if Spencer's carrying this little girl to the hospital, and then Hero, the constant problem child, John, the constant problem child, where nothing is serious and he's got to make a joke about everything and just constantly derailing character development, sticks his foot out in front of Spencer to try to make him drop the girl.
Yeah.
Like, this is the girl that is the reason you guys are on this quest. Like, this is Spencer, like, maybe this is Spencer's character's niece or something, or daughter, or childhood friend, or childhood friend's daughter that he was sent to protect. He finally found her, and then like, oh, I'm gonna trip him, and then I'm gonna fart on him.
So, question about, like, now kind of tangential, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's probably a way that you could kind of provide a handicap for a kid playing in a game with adults without making it seem like blatant favoritism, you know, like...
Yeah, but I went about it the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah, I went about it in the way of like, look, dude, you finally get a chance. This is your boss. This is like your boss battle. This is your thing. This is the culmination of what you were trying to do, or at least one of the things that you were trying to do. I'm going to give your nephew a +2 samurai sword, and give this person a shield, and give this person superior healing potion, and all this other stuff, and you get 2 copper.
Okay, I got you.
I did it in the...
See, now I want to make a character. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to interrupt you like that. That always gets... Like, I want to do a one-shot where I do a character that does always get the shit end of the stick on purpose.
Yeah, that's on purpose. This was because of spite.
Brown, I got a rock.
Yeah, I got a rock. Yeah, this was because of spite.
You guys got paid?
Yeah, I was that red flag DM. If that was your first time ever playing with me, I would be a red flag DM.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Because fuck that guy in particular, for reasons. You know what I mean? Like, I had my reasons. Dumb, stupid, petty reasons. But I had my reasons. Okay. I should have done it. I'll be the first one to admit I'm on camera, so that you motherfuckers in the audience can't say that I'm not humble. Absolutely, I shouldn't have done that. I should have spread the joy like normal, and then taken my own advice that I'm speaking now, pulling off to the side, like, hey, look, dude, the door is there. we gotta handle some situations here. I'm already getting complaints about you. I've got complaints about you. You know what you're doing. You think it's funny, and it's not. You're the class clown that nobody likes. Let's fix that. Because if you want to be here, show me you want to be here.
Yeah, like you're not being forced to be here to play D&D with us, so show me why you want to be here.
Yeah, if you want to be here because of your son, by all means be here because of your son. Don't roll any dice. If you want to be a participating member, by all means, roll some dice. These are some ground rules, which we talked about in a previous podcast, like zero session, like these are the do's and don'ts. Because of situations like that, my list grew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna say, I'm so sorry. I thought you were done.
Go ahead. Because I got a bunch of red flag stuff.
I'm gonna keep the same red flag that I think I've mentioned to you before. It's the player that takes, and by extension also the DM, because this is not something that only players are capable of doing. But the participating individual that takes stuff that happens in game ultra personally.
Yeah.
I've played with a person, John, this was the one shot that we played for my birthday. It was this person's first time playing, loved them to pieces. They'd never played before. A lot of us played, but they really wanted to come in and participate for my birthday one shot. And they decided they really wanted to play the bard because it sounded cool. We all worked in film. Bards and artists, filmmakers are usually artists. It seemed like something they would just kind of lined up. So we're like, okay, go ahead, take it, go off. Well, they did a decent amount of damage too. I don't remember if it was the big bad's parrot or the big bad themselves. But they did a decent amount of damage and the parrot went, you're annoying, you're annoying. And this player took it as the DM, a person, calling this player, the person, annoying. And I could not talk them out of it. I tried to explain, and I even said, like, you just did a decent amount of damage. That's why, like, it makes sense. You just hurt them quite a bit. But they just would not. Like, they'd made up their mind, and that's how it was. Yeah. Like, it's... I've seen it happen at our table. Sometimes even Chad will pause and go, Nate, love you, buddy. This is not personal, and then do something that just fucks Lathier. That
happens because of literally that exact thing. My that same guy, same dad. It wasn't anything towards him or anything. Just he got hit critically, and he was the only person that got hit that entire encounter. I didn't fudge anything. Like I even was like, I'll do it on camera sometimes too. I'll be like, I can't make this up. Here you go, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm singling anybody out. He got hit with a nat 20, and literally nobody else got hit. And I was like, dude, them's the breaks. And after the session, he was like, man, how come everybody else could do stuff but I can't? It's like, what are you talking about? You did the most damage out of everybody. Yeah, but I'm the only one that got hit. That's kind of the point. Like, I can't.
The roll of the dice.
It's the roll of the dice.
It's why when we were playing the one shot, when I ended up rolling for Legio, I would put the dice tray here and then drop it, because I started rolling real hot for a little bit, and I'm like, I'm starting to question if I'm fudging this.
Like hell, even John's one shot. How many nat 20s did I get as Brumptus?
Mm-hmm. You did fucking good.
And I was like, I'm not making this up. I think I moved my camera on one of them. I was like, I'm not making this up. Here you go. My hand's right here. I even did a thing. I think one of the encounter or one of the rounds. I was like, all right. Because I think I rolled like a natural 20 previously, but I had like 2 natural 20s prior. I was like, okay, I'm not making this up. My hands are right here. I'm going to take the die, drop it, and then I'm going to move my camera. And I did. And it was still a natural 20.
I mean, it's just one of those, it happens. Like, I don't know. I think if we're like, if what makes the group of players upset or not is how the die ends up rolling, for DMs or players. There's a lot more problems at that table than just how the die rolls. Like, legitimately, with how our table is set up right now, we could roll nat 20s and nat 1s. Just strictly those two for the rest of the campaign.
Which one session we pretty much did.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't roll ones.
We roll big old
We roll
fat twos.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, we could roll, like, just for example, we could roll 1s or 20s for the rest of the campaign and still have a very fun campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us could enjoy our time doing it. Because, like, if rolling too many 20s or too many 1s is what's ruining it for people. And, like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes if you're just having a really bad streak and you've rolled 1 after 1 after 1 after 1, and you're watching somebody roll 20 after 20 after 20, and you're just like, God,
you do not want to watch
like,
people at Dirt League then.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I feel like any rational human being will sit there and go, okay, this entire set is going to dice jail. Let me pick a different set out of my pile because I'm a dice gremlin.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just, well, I feel like dice gremlins would not be classified as rational, but still.
Listen,
Try telling that to Krista.
let me have it.
Yeah, well, at least Krista makes most of hers.
Yeah, but still, Jesus, I have so much dice.
But no, it's just, I'm just saying, like, it's not that.
Oh, excuse me.
It's not the thing that the dice roll should not decide your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as I'm okay with min-maxers at my table, again, if you roll 1s for an entire fight and you're min-max, you're on the minimum side of that, and it sucks, then, you know, that's just how it came out. And if that destroys your fun of the game, even though you know that's a possibility, well, then that's a bigger problem.
Yeah, you got something else going on than a character sheet.
Slight tangent. The first time I ever played a TTRPG, I played Savage Worlds. One of my friends was playing, I don't remember if he was a sorcerer or a wizard, but his name's Jackson, loved him to pieces, went to high school with the guy. He made a character named Minius Maximus because he decided he wanted to break the game for funsies. Whenever he had PowerPoints, he was essentially a fucking god. The minute those were gone, he was worse than useless, and he didn't have any PowerPoints when we were going up against an orc raid. So what did he do on his turn? He made a comedic bit out of jumping around and hiding in different barrels. He didn't complain that he couldn't do shit. He found a way to participate and play the game.
Green flag.
Yeah. Like, you know, it is one of those, like, going into my red flag players. I mean, my number one red flag players are always kind of like what Spencer said, and I think Brad agreed with, where it's just making everything about yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Daggerthorn Blacksmith who just wants to be like shittier Aragorn in the corner.
I want all the loot. I want the best equipment. I want to build the wall. It's going to be great. I felt myself going in that direction. I wasn't trying to, but I had to sell it.
The king will come to me, tear in his eye.
We're gonna make Lethro pay for it.
All right.
Just driving the bus, guys.
Funny enough, for the first time, I think
bus.
that's my first time actually doing a Trump impression in like all years that he's been around. Whatever.
Excuse me, Ronald Rump.
Yeah.
Ronald Rump. We don't name drop.
Yeah, whatever.
It's we're very subtle with our references.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He
subtle.
does. There's no this. It's this.
But go it.
Shit, I was trying to swallow.
Finally. Anyways.
Yeah, you would think.
He said it, not me. He said it, not me. He said it, not me. I'm not even on camera. He said it, not me. You can't look at me, Harley. Fuck you.
It's okay. John's done the market research.
Anyways.
Minimal. But no, I like not even just that I want all the loot and everything like that. The like Spencer said, the person who checks out when it's not their thing. like I think the biggest red flag statement you can hear as a DM from any player is, "Are you done?"
Yeah.
I would like to counter, but it's what my character would do.
I mean, yeah, but that's typically after the art. Like, "Are you done?" is the setup of like, you know, you're at the tavern, like session 0 at the tavern, everyone's intermingling, having a good chat, and like players are role playing like they're supposed to, and this person is just, "Oh, are you done? All right, well, Blackthorn's sitting in the corner with his hood pulled up, and da da da," and it's just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like
You're that starved
this
for
shit-
attention in a fantasy world.
yeah, like I don't know, it like the "are you
Mhm.
done" phrase, like it just sets off like you don't give a shit about anything that led up to that. You've been waiting for a moment to be like, you know, if going to one of our things, it'd be like, you know, Ganta and Norvian, how this scar thing came up with Hero. It was Ganta and Norvian talking, and it was like, "Oh, you don't have any scars?" Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm covered in scars. That's how it came up. Natural conversation, like people have. These types of players would be like, you know, that conversation's coming, and just, "Are you done? Well, check out these bad boys." Like, all right. Like,
Yeah.
even though it's the same situation and can end up with the same result, the setup of "are you done" just makes it feel like I don't give a shit what you're saying.
Yeah. I think
Like,
I think
just
the
had a role
understanding
plan, yeah.
I think the understanding would have to be like in the character creation itself. Like if you
Mhm.
if the DM allowed it, obviously, if you wrote a character who is truly striving for attention, but that's a characteristic flaw,
Mhm.
that could be amazing storytelling. We're not telling the audience to not be an arrogant character. We're telling the audience to not be an arrogant player.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, when I say the "are you done" phrase, it's not a phrase that I'm worried about hearing from a character.
I agree.
Like, because like a character who hates like pomp and circumstance, sitting at a ball being like, "Are you done?" Like, to
Yeah,
some guy
like
giving a tweet.
Ganta or
Yeah.
like Hero did with Ganta. Like, why the fuck is he talking to her like this? Like, okay, can we
Yeah.
move on? Like, we get it. We need to know what we need to do. It's like Ganta's doing
Yeah.
a thing. Not Chad is trying to do a thing. It's like, no, Ganta's doing a thing. We got this. We got this planned out. It's okay. It's like that's not John trying to be a dick to Chad. That's Hero
No,
who's
that's-
been established to be this way.
To hate pomp and
Yep.
formalities and everything, to
Which is
not
a
want to deal with
complete-
pomp and formalities.
Which is a complete contradiction in terms of Ganta's perspective, which is great character development and storytelling.
But out of character, the "are you done?" So that way I can say my RP
Yeah,
thing.
can you hurry
that
up so
has
I can
nothing
roll?
Yeah, stuff like that, where it's just like, dude, you know, look, if you wanna have your edgelord RPG adventure, go play Baldur's Gate, go play Skyrim or Oblivion.
Or if you really
You
like
can
that
do-
dude for whatever reason, well, let's make it into a one shot where you literally are the focus of this entire thing.
Like, I will, you know, how about you come in and like be the big bad evil guy for a one shot?
I like
That
it.
would be great.
It's a good idea.
But when you're in a group and like I think Chad, you brought this up one other time, but my character's a loner. Well, you're joining a party. You
Oh,
wouldn't want
yeah.
to do that.
The guy,
Oh, yeah,
the
well-
guy who doesn't want to actually be with the party, the true lone wolf edge lord.
Like, you can play a lone wolf edgelord, but
Yeah.
as Chad always says, make it make sense. Why is your lone wolf edgelord joining this party?
Mhm.
Well, he tried to do the dungeon before by himself, and he found out that there's a puzzle where you need more than one person to solve this puzzle. So he went to find a party because he literally cannot lone wolf this.
Caveat:
I mean,
that lone wolf edge lord dude, he doesn't want to join the party because he's trying to help them on the back end.
Yeah.
They're all going to the same place. Maybe he because Rime of the Frostband, you have you can roll for secrets. So
Ooh, I like that.
yeah, that's the campaign I'm getting ready to run. So one of the secrets could be you were witness to a crime and your You're being hunted. Like there's a bounty for you. You don't want to go with the party because they're getting ready to go to the town where the bounty is. So what can we do? Well, that droopy edgelord who witnessed this crime and he's just trying to be in hiding. He doesn't want to go out and he wants to stay in Lonely Wood and he wants to just eat fish and he doesn't want to do anything. It's because he's scared. Why is he scared to go? Why is he scared to go to Goodmead? Because there's a bounty. But the players don't know that. So what can that edgelord do while the party's going to Goodmead? He can trail them. He can make it to where they're not going to also be witnesses to these crimes that he knows in Goodmead.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And see, that's a good way to play a lone wolf, because what were the 2 rules you gave me, Chad?
I give you a lot.
It was right when I was first. We hadn't even started yet.
Understand that all the players are inherently going to work together to some degree. They're going to be a party. If you don't want to be, you're talking about like my do's and don'ts.
No, I think you're on the right track. If it was the 2 questions that you need to be able to answer about your.
Does this character work well with? Does this character work in a party? And shit, now I can't remember.
Are they willing to? It was either collaborate or compromise. Basically, are they willing to work in a party and are they willing to work cooperatively? Because if the answer to either of those questions is no,
scrap it, make a new character, or see the door.
Go find a new character. Like it's one of those. I know that I went on this Baldur's Gate rant last time, but this is what Baldur's Gate is for. The reason I say Baldur's Gate is the closest you can get to playing D&D without actually playing D&D is because in order for it to be D&D, there is this collaborative, cooperative social aspect. Yes, your Baldur's Gate party consists of 4 different characters, but you are making the decisions for every single one of them.
Yeah. Unpopular, or not really unpopular, but really, like, in my opinion, not really spoken enough red flag. The fucking stinkers. The anti-hygienists. Yeah. I know. I mean, no disrespect for people who like have legit like BO problems and whatnot.
We're talking about like we're talking about like the guy that goes to Comic-Con without deodorant on because he just says he doesn't need it.
Yeah, like if there is nothing worse, because like I have a room for D&D and it's not well like ventilated. Like I have 2 windows and a door. I don't have like a ceiling fan, like none of that. So like what we have is what we have. I got a couple like incense things, sure. But when you're stuck in a room with 7 people and you're sitting in between 2 stinky ass motherfuckers and there's nothing you can say without sounding like an asshole, that to me is just a huge red flag. And I don't think it's talked about enough. I don't know. Like we talk about it with Comic-Con and LGS stores, but no, in your own house. I don't think it's talked about enough. Like
it's also really disrespectful to go and like stink up someone else's house. I'll say it.
I migrated the group because I have a portable screen and my laptop. I migrated the group outside in the middle of a session.
Oh,
because it was that freaking bad. But she's a good friend of mine and I didn't want to be a jerk. And like, oh, can I compromise? Let me come up with something until I can figure out a way to tell her.
I don't even know
like,
how you'd begin to approach that.
Yeah, that was my problem. My only saving grace is that life happened. She had to back out of the campaign for good reasons, not in a bad way, but she's the one that had to tell me. It's like, oh my God, thank you. I did not want to tell you you smell like fresh ass. Doesn't get talked about enough. I know it happens in like LGS and Comic-Con. It does not talk about a stank player in your own home when you're stuck in a room for 4, 5, 6 hours rolling dice and telling stories.
I have one to kind of play off that. I don't think it talked about enough. Comes in partially with the hygiene thing, the one thing that kills me. Because like I said, I played Adventurers League. But
I just remember, does your character work well with others, and does your character want to go on an adventure?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
If either
I'm
one
adding
of those
the collaboration one though.
Yeah, if either one of those, it kind of goes along with work with others. Maybe not well, but work with others. Does your character will your character work with others, and will your character go on adventures? If either one of those are a no or a maybe, scrap that idea, see the door. That's my rule.
snacks at the table. Choice in snacks at the table.
Really?
I can see that though.
Really?
So I'm not against like major food. Like I've had tables where it was like in my college years, it would be somebody would cook dinner and we'd all eat dinner together and play D&D. Great time. Awesome. And I never cared what anybody cooked for dinner. I'll eat anything. But the thing that you
helpful when I'm trying to make dinner decisions.
what is it called? The thing that killed me was one of I had a player who his favorite snack was Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And so we'd be playing D&D, and anything he touched was covered in Cheeto dust. And if you brought up that anything he touched ended up covered in Cheeto dust, he would just lick his fingers and then touch with his licked fingers. And I'm just like, this is worse.
That also goes back to the hygiene thing.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
does,
It's kind of like the...
But that specific scenario doesn't trigger red flag for me. It's more like they might not know what they might not know what they might not know. You know what I mean?
You're giving the biggest DM BBEG monologue you have prepped for weeks. You've written 3 different scripts for this. You've finally settled. You've put hours upon hours into this one speech. And someone's sitting there ripping open tiny bags of chips.
I mean, it's not as much that. For me, it was... So, like, you know, when you're playing, especially when you're playing at home and, like, people play with minis, it was... Minis, like, you don't own every mini, and well, unless you're Chad, I guess.
Yeah, make my
like my buddy, one of the buddies who I played with, had a bunch of minis, and the amount of times, like, because the reason this stopped is because the person who owned the minis got mad at the guy who ate all the Cheetos. Because some of them weren't painted. He would just buy them. He'd be like, oh, hey, what's the next BBG? I'd be like this. And he's like, I don't have time to paint it, but like, here you go. Here's a dragon. Oh, cool. But now there's a gray mini-based dragon just sitting there. And it's like, hey, that's what you're fighting. And the guy would go to like move his character or move the dragon for something. Like, oh, I can reach it. Like, let me move the dragon. And now the dragon's partially orange. And he's like, dude, I just paid for that. Oh, my bad. Here you go. Here's your spit-covered dragon.
I don't know if that's a D&D red flag to me. That just feels like a red flag person. I don't know if that's a D&D.
Yeah,
red flag.
It's a red flag we could get into like beige flag D&D territory.
Well, like that's beige.
I mean, for me it's kind of the opposite of like the person who does bring food and want to interact with everybody. It's like the exact opposite side of that. It's like the dude who has no care for other people's belongings.
Oh yeah, yep, red flag. Dealt with that too.
That's fair.
With that. I've like two of my dice towers are broken because freaking dude decided he wanted to not sneak in alcohol because like we don't care, we have drinks, but like decided to just want to get shit faced and like first hour because he's taking shots and we're like chill out.
Slow down.
Broke 2 of my fucking dice towers that I 3D printed.
How do you even?
Let's just say he doesn't play with me anymore.
Yeah.
I was
yeah. I mean that's the thing is like obviously what I'm talking about is a very minor version of that, but like it's still like dude, like the dude asked you not to touch it with your Cheeto dust fingers. Just don't touch anything.
Yeah,
I still can't seem to understand that.
I'm kind of with you, but I'm gonna go with beige.
Like it could be beige. Like I didn't stop playing with the guy. Those two did have a argument.
Yeah.
Did anyone tell him not to? I feel like it's a beige flag at first, but if other people tell them, like, hey, please don't do this, then it becomes a red flag because then it's not just like, poor hygiene, nobody's perfect, but if it's something you're doing is upsetting other players and damaging their property and you're aware of it and do nothing to stop it, then that's a red flag.
Yeah, fuck you. It's not my mini. Me. It's not my mini. Okay, see the door, dude.
Yeah, no, it was one of those, it was one of those things where he never did it intentionally. It was always mindless. Like, it was just like lack of mindfulness. But there was multiple conversations until it turned into a full-blown fight that finally, like, he was like, aware of it and made himself aware of it going forward.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it shouldn't have taken an argument for you to be aware of it.
Dude, you would be surprised. I just went through a whole slew of supervisor training and everything as an NCO. And some of these horror stories that I've heard and experienced myself, there are some people that legit have to be told, like, excessively and aggressively sometimes, to do a thing or to stop doing the thing before they pay attention, because that's what they know.
Like, I manage restaurants. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
Try telling a 40-year veteran of bartending to stop doing something a certain way because it's not right or not within how we do it. Like, I've
got an even bigger red flag, and no one's gonna fight me on it.
Are we one-upping each other now?
Yeah, we're gonna one-up each other. The phone scrollers.
I've been that player.
Yo,
I'm
bitch,
so sorry.
I hate you. I want. Oh, I get so heated. No. I get so mad. I'll be telling a story, or we'll be in the middle of combat, and literally all I hear and all I see is a guy just looking straight down. Like, am I boring? Am I the asshole in this situation?
In my defense, I only did it because we were playing with. This is more of a beige flag for me, but that one guy. That when it's his turn, even during combat, he has this big expos for everything and won't shut the fuck up. And it takes like 30 minutes to get through just his turn. But it was also his house that I was playing at.
Yeah.
So we all kind of... So it's like, it's that flag is beigey, but I was the phone scroller because it would hit his turn and I'd be like, okay, none of this concerns me.
I mean, so here's my thing on phone scrollers. There is levels to it.
Yeah. Like, a little bit of preference, real quick, if I can interject. Just a little bit of preference.
Okay.
If you've got kids or you got some stuff going on in life, like maybe, perfect example, Krista, she'll have her phone in front of her because we got a camera in the boys' room. You know, he's autistic, so we got to keep an eye on him. Stuff like that, sure. Maybe my buddy Joe, who comes to my table. Sometimes he drops his kid off with my mom, so they can play. They can go swimming and whatnot in the pool with my daughter and have a good time. Family gets together. Yeah, that makes sense, dude. You're gonna keep track of your phone in case an emergency happens. I understand that completely. I'm talking about the guys that if they feel like it's got nothing to do with them, they scroll fucking TikTok or they scroll Instagram or something that literally has nothing to do with any kind of real life stuff or whatnot. Like, those are the guys that I'm talking about. Like, I've caught people at my table on their phones in the middle of combat and they're like, oh, sorry, I was actually looking up a ruling on an understanding, and they will literally show me my phone. It's like, oh shit, oh yeah, by all means, dude, I'm proud of that. I'll give you an inspiration coin. That's awesome. You're taking it to the next level.
Yeah. I'm
talking about the guys who are like, golf swing, anime titties, mechanics. Like, okay, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. You're bringing, like I said, I'm a big environmental guy. You're bringing the vibe down. You're bringing the environment down. I'm telling the story, or Krista, my wife, she's explaining a thing. She's having a dialogue. Maybe John and Spencer are having a dialogue, and I'm just, you can't see it on camera. But if we're all sitting here in person, it's like, okay, yeah, this is John and Spencer. I'm going to go back to looking up Dragon Ball Z fun facts. That's so disrespectful to me, in my opinion. It might just be a chat thing. And I'm sorry, I'm so heated. My face is turning red. I hate it so much.
Chad is becoming the color of the flag that he is determined this player is.
I hate it so much.
I think there is a middle ground to this because, like, I've met players. I am partially that player. I am married to a person like this, as you can visibly watch on screen right now. Sometimes, like,
I have to fidget or I will not understand a single thing you fucking say.
I made fidget spinners for this exact reason. Part of the reason I got into filament 3D printing is to make fidgets for this exact reason.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. If you give me something else to do, I can do something else. But if nothing is provided for me, or I didn't think to bring something because I didn't know it was going to be that bad, then my phone becomes my fidget toy, and I will process better.
I hate it.
So that is,
You're not going to talk me out of it. I hate it.
No, that's fine. You can be. I am just on a different level. if I catch you on your phone and I go like if I have to sit there like almost in class of like in high school again, where it's just like, hey, can you read the next like, hey, keep reading the next passage, and you're like, where are we? Like, what's going on? We have a problem.
That's
If it's
what I'm
just
talking
like-
about.
Yes. No, but if like there are people who can be fidgeting on their phone for no other reason than like because if not, they're going to try to insert themselves into the situation because they need to do something. It's the ADHD
Yes.
in their brain.
Mhm.
So they're fidgeting on their phone, but the minute it's their turn to be back involved, they know exactly what happened. They know what's going on. They're back in it. They just needed something to do with their hands for the time period so they don't interrupt somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Don't
So
get me
it
wrong,
really
I
depends-
understand it. I haven't had the instance. Like, if we were all at a table together right now, I fully understand because I know how each and every one of us are. Like, I'm gonna expect it. I'm sure.
Do you know how often I'm on my phone during this campaign?
But it's not my story, so I don't care.
Don't mistake me. I can tell.
Oh, I know.
I just don't give a shit because I know how my brain works. And again, I love you all. We are neurodivergent as fuck. I don't care if you have a diagnosis or not. You're in the camp.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a perfect man.
Yeah. Like, so that's the thing, is like, at no point in this campaign has there been a moment where like Hero needs to become a part of it. Like, nobody, like Ganta and Phil are talking for like 20 minutes, like 10 minutes, and I'm sitting here just being like, okay, my brain needs something, or I'm gonna like try to interrupt, or like, I don't want to be sitting on camera like, or doing something. So I need something to do. So I'm just like scrolling through on my phone, and then Ganta's like, "What do you think, Hero?" What do I think about what? Like, yeah, you have every right to be pissed off. But if I'm just like, oh yeah, I think you got a good plan there by doing X, Y, and Z, but like also we could add in this thing, and I'm back in ready to go. That's a whole different thing in my book.
It is, and I feel like I'm biased because I've done tons of one shots and like mini campaigns and whatnot. Even my table campaign, my longest campaign. I've probably have close to like 200 sessions under my belt. And so I'm definitely biased because it's most of the same group. I don't know. Like, I don't want to be like, if I'm going to be the center of attention, it's because I'm doing something. If I'm telling a story, I'm not saying all eyes need to be on me. But if you want to take this game serious, like I was talking about, like we and you agreed, like the people that actually want to come and play seriously, it's a lot. It could be the dumbest, stupidest, bit-driven game you could ever possibly imagine. You're still serious about playing.
Yeah.
I can't stand the idea of someone committing to something, and it's got to be the military mind of me. I know for a fact it is. I can't stand the idea of somebody saying they want to commit to something, and then I don't want to use the term "give it their all" because we can't do that 24/7. We'll burn out. But just not have enough mental fortitude to just say, "Hey, is there something I can do?" Or, "Hey, can I step out real quick so I don't interrupt somebody?" Hey, is this a place that I can chime in on something? Is there something that I could learn? What can I do? Do you have a fidget? Maybe I could snack on something. Insert something which is fundamentally better than watching golf swings on TikTok.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, as someone whose brain
very specific
does
example.
need-
Yes.
as let me be very clear. As one of the people who does need something to do, and that does include my phone in certain circumstances, I'm on Chad's side. Because what Chad has done is he understands that some people need to fidget. But he also does not want people on their fucking phones. So what did Chad do? Printed fidgets and provided an alternative.
Right. Like,
you might have your biases, Chad, but you make them accessible. And
I
you
have
know
my
what? We appreciate that.
I have my bias because all of my literally, and if you haven't picked up by now, all of my red flags come from this one guy. First-hand
It's
experience.
all the same guy.
All the same. This is all the same guy, and I couldn't be the DM that I wanted to be with my rules and
Why are
whatnot.
you still playing with him?
Oh, I know. He's gone. We can talk about that off camera. I don't want to name drop by accident. But it's this one guy this entire time. Literally all of my do's and don'ts list that I've shown you, which has grown since then, thinking about things, is firsthand experience from him. Can't take anything serious. Can't take anything serious. Make everything about yourself. Complaining about loot, dice rolls, insert dick joke on serious moments. Complaining about everything not going your way. Feeling left out when the entire session was about you. Scrolling your phones and then lying about what you're watching. It's like, dude, I can see exactly what you're doing. You're not reading anything. You're watching fucking golf swings, you piece of shit. I know for a fact I'm biased. I know for a fact that I should not be this critical. But good God, let the players and the DM come and just get away. The whole point of D&D is to have fun and in all honesty, escapism. Why do we play video games? To escape.
I play video games for competitive. Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Can't hear you, buddy.
can't hear you.
Oh, I said I play video games for competitiveness, but yeah.
But you get what I'm saying though. Like
I've heard.
Yeah, most of the time we play video games because it's escapism. We watch anime or TV shows because it's escapisms. It has no real world application with the exception of stuff like gaming, I understand, but there's no real world application for Dungeons and Dragons unless your goal is to be like a content creator or an author or a mini maker, something. I understand that, sure. But in our level,
sure you could break down a D&D group into job-based transferable skills.
Fair. But to
learn
me,
a lot about math.
learn a lot about math. But to me,
Time management, scheduling, cooperation, collaboration.
To me specifically, and I know for a fact I'm biased, it's military minded, and I apologize in advance, and I'll apologize 1,000 times. I show respect. You know what I mean? If Harley doesn't see as disrespectful being on her phone for a conversation, right? Harley doesn't see it's disrespectful to be on your phone when it's got nothing to do with her. Maybe she's not even there in the session. Like her character's fucked off somewhere else. But she knows that's a Chad's hotspot. Hey Chad,
yeah, so hey
Chad, is there anything going on with me? I can step out for a little bit, take a little bit of a break. By all means, go for it. Thank you for letting me know. Hey Chad, do you got something I can fidget with something? Because I trust Harley to know that she can literally ask me anything, and that's perfectly fair and fine. I would rather her crochet in the middle of combat than to scroll fucking TikTok.
Do you have any idea how many times I've tried to figure out if I can crochet during combat as the DM?
That's literally I don't know what
the
it is.
The answer's no.
I don't know what it is. Just something about I know part of it's bias for the guy. I know for a fact, but like I hear stories about like disruptive and disrespect and like ground rules, and all of that just culminates into you just don't have respect for the environment and the person who's building this thing for you.
Like I think, like I said, for me, it's just the difference between, are you consciously aware of what is going on around you, or because it's a bigger thing. Like the world has a big thing against like being on your phone,
of course,
and at any time with other human interactions. That's supposed to be like a one-on-one act, like a by yourself activity. And I get it to an extent, but also at the same time, like, are you consciously perceiving everything going on around you, or are you zoned out in your phone? Those are two very different scenarios in my head. Yeah. If
I'm at your house and we're doing D&D and we're in combat and John's scrolling on his phone, I'm gonna look at you funny. I'll be like, I mean, Harley's like kind of she's putting in a lot of work for this campaign, buddy. Like you're a part of this. She put in all of for conversation. John didn't do anything. Yeah. John's just a player. Harley put in a lot of work to build your character, to set this world up, the maps, the tokens, the minis, the lore, the building, the painting, the structure, getting us all here, the scheduling, maybe even the food even. Like, she put in a lot of this work, dude. The least you can do is get off your phone for 2 hours. Like, come on, man. But then John turns around as soon as combat comes around. He's like, all right, cool. Ventura did this, Spencer did this and this. All right, cool. Which means these spells are up. All right, I'm gonna hit this because of such and such. Okay, shut the fuck up, Chad.
And like that's the thing. Is like also like
want you to know, Chad, I've actively watched both John and Spencer do that in D&D.
Yeah, my case, no. My case specifically is like anytime you're on your phone, you are zoned out, and I would be like, "Hey, is everything okay? You're on your phone a lot," because I'm trying to be respectful. Like, you're on your phone a lot. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was just checking up on some stuff, and I'm over here like, dude, I know I can see you. You're on fucking TikTok. You're not checking out nothing except titties. But so I don't want to be that guy.
Were they nice titties?
Yeah.
My whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is also like, it really depends. I think another respect part to me is like, okay, are we 2 to 3 hours into this session, or are we like, if we go, oh, like Harley starts off the whole thing and it's like, all right, everybody, like, you know, this is where we're at, this is where we're catching up to, and now we begin, and I'm automatically just, yeah, there's a problem. Because, like, I don't care how ADHD you are, you can concentrate for a little bit. Yeah. We're, like, setting up the story and what we're doing today. There's probably going to be a lot going on. 3 hours into it, and, like, you know, the party split, and, like, for the best example, the last episode, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, it was last episode where we split up.
Yeah, where we split up. We're at Trinket and Bob. Oh, yeah, actually, last episode we split up, too. We keep splitting the party lately. But I feel like we should make a gang let's split up joke. But whatever.
I want you to know, every single time one of you goes, let's split the party, someone goes, don't split the party.
That's me.
And then proceeds to split the party.
Because, like, I'm trying to play as Ganta, but then I'm also like, Chad knows, don't ever split the fucking party.
It's been fine.
Things can happen. I have screwed over players from splitting a party in a shopping episode. Okay.
Oh, yeah. But, like, yeah, so, like, we're 3 hours in. We're bouncing back and forth between Trinket and Baubles and them playing in the fountain for some reason. Well, they're playing in the fountain and dealing with the guy playing the flute. My brain just cannot.
It sounds so whimsical.
Yeah.
I need, like, my brain needs something else. Like, it's not like I'm not paying attention, and I will be involved, and I know everything that happened. Like, I can literally spit back that entire episode to you right now and what we did. But also, I needed the 5 minutes of just like, my brain needs something else. So I'm going to scroll my phone a little bit.
Yeah.
And then immediately, like, I'm back in and we're good to go.
Like, I understand it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that it's... Like it. Part of me doesn't like... A majority doesn't like it. I have to be fair. And I know I'm probably going to get hate about it in the comments. By all means, angry comment guy, come after me, bro. But it's... Part of it is because, like, well, like I said, I understand. Like, that's why in my table sessions, in my online session that I do, we do an hour to an hour and a half, and then we take a break. We walk away. Yeah. Then that everyone can do anything. We take as long as break is needed. Then we come back. And then I'll recap everything, and then I'll do stuff like, the table is yours. What are you going to do? This is your chance. I'm not going to say, treat people like babies, but, like, table is yours. Do things. In a nutshell. The majority part of it comes because, like I said, military mindset. When someone is talking, don't be on your phone. Look them in the eye. If someone's talking to you specifically, exactly, look them in the eye. There it is. That's my boy. Like, if Harley's talking to me and she's standing right in front of me, Harley's talking to me, like, even at a table, Harley's talking to me, I'm Ganta, she's the DM, and she mentions anything about Ganta, I'm gonna look at Harley in the eye. That's just how my mommy raised me.
Prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact. Yeah, that bit's dead. That bit's already been used. It's part of, like I said, it's because of expectations, and I know it's not everyone's expectations in reality. But if Harley's talking to me, I'm going to look at her in the eye. That's just what I'm going to do. I ask the same respect of everybody at the table is doing the same thing. If you feel like you can't, let me know and I'll figure something out to help you out. If we need to take more breaks, maybe we do 45-minute sessions and then come back into it. Tell me. We'll do things. That's perfectly fine. That kind of goes into what I was talking about with Harley. Vetting people. If you know that this person's going to have issues with paying attention and staying focused, if everyone else at the table is cool with it, let's make them 45-minute sessions. Or 45 minutes, take a break. 45 minutes, take a break. 45 minutes, take a break. So instead of one long 3-4 hour session, 3 or 4 breaks in between. That's one thing to fix that problem. My job as a DM and as a person needs to be able to see that, address it, come up with solutions so that everybody's on board and nobody's upset. Everyone feels like they're getting something out of it. However, period question mark, because of this one specific individual, just would not get on board. And me as still an inexperienced DM, I don't want to hurt his feelings because if I kick him out of the table for whatever reasons because of these kinds of things, then I also lose his son. So I'm losing 2 players, and one of them genuinely wants to be here.
It's a tough position.
Mm-hmm. So that's literally why I'm biased. 100% I'm biased. Phone scrollers.
Speaking of breaks, do we want to take a break real quick?
Oh, we have one more topic.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I don't know how long we've been recording. We're 3 hours 20 minutes into from when we started, so a break at this point seems kind of.
Yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes. We can go right into the last topic, which is how to deal with your problem players.
Throw stuff at them now.
How to deal with red. Yep, yeah, make them fuck. I'm not a problem player, bitch. How to deal with red flag players.
My red flag is main character complex characters. No, honestly, dealing with problem players for me is the easiest. I take the same idea that I take because I run restaurants, the same idea that I take with hiring people, which I'm pretty quick on the hire. Like, as long as there's no major red flags when I talk to you pre-starting the job, you're hired. But I'm also very quick to fire people. Like, if you show certain signs in training that you're not up to snuff for what I need here, or your personality is not going to match, yada da da da, gone. And I take the same idea with my tables. If you join my table and very quickly in character building or in in like session 1, there are things that I might be like, hey, we're going to talk about this. This is a problem. If it continues to be a problem, you're going to be asked to leave. But there's also certain things that I'm like, nah, you're going to go, like, right away. Done. It's pretty cut and dry on my end.
Yeah. Kind of similar to what you were saying. And we've mentioned it 1,000 times, like my do's and don'ts list. If John wants to bring a character and he's dark, broody, blah, 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 the typical lone wolf guy, and I say, all right, these are my 2 questions. Does your character will your character work with others? And does your character want to go on adventures? And you say no, scrap it or see the door. That's one way to deal with problem players. The caveat to that is John can say, yeah, of course he does. But then the table starts happening. And I don't try to judge people on like session 1 or 2 because like it's mostly just like introduction and lore dump at that point. But once you get to like session 3 or 4, and John's still playing that same character, and everybody is going out and fighting these things and solving the quests, and he's just like, I'm just gonna chill. This got nothing to do with me. I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. Like John, to take it even a step further, John's character could even go with them and literally just stand there in combat. It's like, no, you guys got this. And it's not written in any capacity that he's this way. It's just John, not his character, just being a dick. Conversation, and if you don't like it, there's the door. I have grown in pure John fashion. If you don't match, you're gone. But I want to give it that step up of like, maybe you're making this character because you watched too much fucking Skyrim. Or you played too much Skyrim and you think that this is just how things work. Maybe you've seen the Punisher and you want to be the biggest brawler and never lose a fight. No. Give me a chance to actually show you how things are supposed to go to some degree and make something from that. You want to play a big brawler kind of dude? Cool. Give him a quirk. Maybe he's afraid of heights. He could be the biggest, baddest, toughest half-orc barbarian fighter, multi-class, abs of steel kind of dude. Can't climb a tree. Give yourself that little thing to just set you apart. And if you stick with it, go ahead.
I was like, he's afraid of cats.
Yeah, he doesn't like cats.
What?
You have an Aarakocra who's afraid of heights. You got a Kenku who's afraid of spiders. Something, you know what I mean?
Exist.
Go ahead.
Aarakocras don't exist.
Yeah.
I've literally seen like one player play an Aarakocra my entire 10 years of playing D&D, and they don't exist.
When I first moved into this house, one of my first players, he played an Aarakocra. He was a storm sorcerer, and it was amazing. I loved his character. I loved his story. I loved how he played it. It was amazing. Big old country boy too. So he had like that country accent with it. Oh boy, I love that character. I still have the character sheet. I saw it today.
Him.
I love him.
My gosh.
His name was Deciduous. It was based off a Pokemon.
My whole thing now.
This is my new favorite thing.
Country act. You said country accent.
Yeah, he like.
All I can think.
Good.
All I can think of is what's his name from like the old Looney Tunes show, the giant rooster.
Yosemite Sam.
No,
Is that his name?
Rooster.
No.
Foghorn Leghorn. Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn
Yeah.
Leghorn. Yeah.
I tell you what.
Yeah, that's all I can.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Well,
his character in my head now.
No, I loved him, and I totally got sidetracked because we mentioned Eric Hawkins. Oh yeah. You're stuck in these roles, and you're stuck in this head that you have to be this thing. Fair, fine, let's do that. We are having problems. Chad and John is having problems. Let's see if we can fix it. I don't want to kick you out because I like you, John. Like outside of D&D, you're my bro. In D&D, there's a problem. Let's figure this problem out. So what can we do? You want to be the meanest, toughest son of a bitch the Wild West has ever seen. Cool. One example, give him a quirk. Give him a fear. Well, he's not afraid of anything. He's afraid of failure. That's a personality. He's afraid of failure. He is so arrogant and so prideful in everything that he does because he's afraid to lose.
You know what?
That's an idea.
Sorry.
We need to do another one shot just so I can play an Aarakocra.
Something just hit my brain based off of what you said, and I've never really thought of it this way before. I think because like if you watch like all these movies and TV shows and play video games and everything, I think people's understanding of what a personality actually is so limited because like, you know, people aren't doing introspection to figure out their own personalities or breaking down other people's personalities. Like legitimately, you know, and I think that's part of the reason why sometimes we get these characters like this because like, you know, you said the Punisher, so my brain went Marvel's movies, and it's like, oh, Iron Man, billionaire playboy philanthropist, cool. And it's like, there's so many more levels to that PTSD stricken, like,
Yeah.
you know, humanitarian there. And they just, you know, but it's not, you know, it's not something they think about. And I think explaining that to people is a very helpful tip of like,
Absolutely.
being a badass is not a personality. You know, being a badass with PTSD is a personality.
Yes, I agree completely. When we're talking about like dealing with red flag players, there's very few. In my opinion, there's very few instances to where just a simple conversation can't help. You know what I mean? Like being able to just say, "Hey, man, I said that I wasn't gonna do Kit's Heads on Pikes narration. You kind of teetered the line there. Let's dial it back. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got super caught up in my character. I'll do better. That's my fault. Problem solved. Problem staying solved. Cool. Maybe the guy like my red flag is hygiene. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that one. I really don't. I really wish I did, but I really don't. Other than just saying, "Hey, man, yeah, bro, like I like you. You're my boy. You're a fantastic friend on the phone. In person, we got problems." I love you, but it's I don't have a nice way, and I know the audience is probably gonna hate me for it. I truly just don't. Like, it's just a red flag for me. I'm real big on cleanliness and personal hygiene. I don't have an answer for that one. So if anybody else does, other than just saying, "Hey, bro, take a shower, put on deodorant," I'm out of options.
Drop your suggestions in the comments, please.
Yeah. Aside from just having, personal conversations, like, "Hey, John, why isn't your character doing anything?" Well, it's my character's a lone wolf. Do you want to be here? Well, yeah, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so my rules were they need to be able to work together. You don't have to like it at all. Your character could fucking hate it. Your character could literally go out of their way to do the bare minimum. But you're participating. Other than that, you're just sitting here. You're not doing anything. Is there something going on at home? Do you not want to be at home? Is there something going on with your wife or your husband, maybe your mom, or something with your job? Like, talk to me. Like, let's get personal about it. Come to find out, one player was literally just like that because he was going through a divorce. He just needed a way to get out of the house. He had no idea how to play D&D. He lied to me. I took that as a way of saying, cool, you're welcome at my place anytime, but don't ever lie to me again. Let's play a game. I'm going to roll a random table for you. I'm going to roll a random character for you. I don't even know what's going to happen. But I will teach you how to play it. And this is what's going to happen. I will guide you every step of the way as to the best of my possible ability. And I can guarantee you will have a good time. He's still at my table.
Good.
He is one of the most plot-driven characters I have ever seen. And he was one of my worst red flags. Just a simple conversation. Now, there are some that having that simple conversation literally does nothing. It just makes it worse. Now they feel targeted. Now they feel like I'm out to get them, or they feel like they're not welcome. Keep having those conversations until your compassion well dries up, is all I can really say. And this comes from military mindset. You can only work with what you got. You can keep building. Go ahead.
It goes back to the thing that I had said that, earlier. Sorry, brain blanked for a minute.
You're good.
It's the unwillingness to cooperate and the had a thought and I lost it. It was a really good thought too.
You're good. What about you, Spencer?
Okay.
Go ahead. It sounds like you were ready to jump on this one.
You've all contributed a lot already, but what I think would be kind of addressing things before they become major problems, because a little thing can just build and snowball, and what could have just been a minor pet peeve or a minor annoyance that could have been nipped in the bud can become something that really bothers you over time. And that action, like you said, it might just be as simple as a conversation, and like, oh, I, one, didn't know I was even doing that, or two, didn't know it bothered you. And, if you nip it in the bud when it happens soon, it's over, it's done with. Either that or you could start building to a conflict resolution if it becomes a conflict. But just allowing it to kind of sit and ferment, just, that once it's like, oh, you've been doing this thing for 10 weeks and it's been bothering me the whole time. And then it's like, well, why didn't you tell me? But then you're probably, if I wait that long, I'm going to be a little more heated too. And the other person's going to be like, oh, well, clearly it wasn't bothering you for this long. And just nipping that in the bud when it first happens before it becomes a major problem is probably a good way. And also, if I have a problem with someone, how I approach it, like I've found that, not in D&D because I don't have much D&D experience, but anything, whether it's work, sports, whatever, if you come off as like really accusatory and confrontational towards someone, they will immediately put their guard up. So I kind of try to make an emphasis to approach someone in a calm way, trying to work towards a solution to the problem, not attacking them like, hey, you dumbass, you're doing this fucking stupid thing that's annoying me. So like just
You'd be
I know
surprised how many
sometimes too
people do
myself-
just that.
Yeah.
It's
well,
so
I know for myself too, like I could get very defensive if someone comes off like really aggressive towards me, even if it's something I know I'm doing wrong. If someone comes up and just jumps down my throat for no reason, I'm probably going to get defensive back, even if I know I'm technically also in the wrong. Whereas someone's like, hey, you know, this thing bothers me, or hey, you're doing this and I don't like it, then I'll be much more willing to be like, oh yeah, you know, that's a good point. I did kind of screw that up, or oh, I could improve on this. I could do that better. So I try to extend that same courtesy towards other people.
emotional
too.
Thought
intelligence.
has popped back in my head because that's also related.
Go for it.
It's the willingness to collaborate does not just apply to your character.
That's good.
That applies to you as a player, because this is both, like, we are going to work collaboratively to get this experience to be the best thing that it can be. And if someone is going out of their way to actively not collaborate, that usually almost directly results in being actively disrespectful.
Yeah. Word of advice: stay off your phones, and nothing bad will happen.
Nothing
that a
bad will
threat?
happen ever.
That's the thing. No, but nothing bad will happen. Well, I'll do kids' heads on pikes as long as you stay on your phone. Piece of shit. I fucking hate you, John. I hate you. I see it. No, like I'm making it a bigger deal than it sounds like. Obviously, with like the phone thing, but you guys have to remember, like, it's mostly just the audience I'm talking to, and maybe Spencer too, as a new player.
Mm-hmm.
When you've been doing the same thing for so long, and every single time you do it, it's different. You start to know you know what works and what doesn't. If I tell this, if I were to do Wishlight Carnival 5 times, it's going to be different every time. Not because of just the players, but because of how my storytelling has progressed, or my antics, or things that I didn't know were a problem the first time I did it, corrected in the second time. So when I say things like the phone stuff, it's not because it's just a one-off. The smelly guy, it's not because it's a one-off. The guy who can't take anything serious, granted in my particular case it was the same guy, but we've all heard the horror stories on Reddit and YouTube about the guy who's like Spencer and John are having a bro to bro moment because they're twins and they just found out their mom died, and like, damn, she was hot too. I would have pounded that. Like, okay, come on, dude, seriously? Like, literally, John is physically crying because he's so much into his character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just hold that. You can't hold that thought. It's because it's happened multiple times.
Earlier, if they say, "Oh, well, that's just what my character would do,"
I wanted to refrain from saying that because that's a trigger for me.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That's
boy.
The DM. Another DM.
We start twitching.
Yeah, that's I don't think there's a sane DM on the planet that has not heard that once in their entire DMing careers. And I would say, like, with the exception of maybe Harley,
player when I heard it, because like, this is my first DM experience. I've heard it, but I was a player when I heard it.
and keep in mind, it's what my character would do has a negative connotation. That's not always the case, because I can guarantee you one or multiple people in the campaign, maybe even all of us, had said it's what Ganta, like, talking to each other. Yeah, Ganta would do this. That's the equivalent of saying my character would do this. Yeah, Ganta exactly would 100% do this. Like, Ganta's gonna sit in his room and he's gonna do this instead, or he's gonna go outside and brood because that's what Hero would do. Yeah, that's ingrained. I think what Spencer's talking about is like the murder hobo.
Don't make your character a douchebag that nobody enjoys playing with, and then say, "Oh, well, I'm just a douchebag because the character I made a douchebag is a douchebag."
Like the guy, like I mentioned this.
Yeah.
I mentioned this before. I can't remember if it got recorded or not. Let's say my wife went to the shop and she was able to find a ring of protection, and the problem player is like, "Cool, I'm going to steal it from her." You weren't there. You don't know she has this. Oh, my character. It's what my character would do whenever she walks in the room. I just steal from her. You've never done it before, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are you metagaming, but you're doing the fucking trope of just being a shithead for the sake of being a shithead, and you're hiding behind the guise of it's what my character would do because he's a rogue. My literal rogue is a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
He is not sneaky in any way, shape, or form. His sleight of hand is so he can freaking manipulate his paperwork faster.
It's a character, a character's class is a set of statistics that tells you what they can do.
Yeah.
It is not a personality archetype. So if you decide to play a shitty character archetype, that's on you.
Yep.
Ganta's a monk. None of this is religious. He just really likes kitchen knives.
I like kitchen. I like cooking. And
I needed a high sleight of hand proficiency to be good at cooking.
That's it. I am not sneaky. I am not stealthy. I am not recon. I am not anything that a monk is able to do. I just like cooking. My wife in real life got me like 5 D&D related cookbooks, and that inspired me to make Ganta.
That's cool.
Harley has seen them. Harley has seen some of the recipes, and they literally it literally breaks it down, like where these ingredients are from, what they do, how to make them. It's basically just it's celery, but it's called like everroot or something. But that's
cool.
It's really cool.
My character would do that. Fuck you, dude. Like, it's a trigger for every DM.
There's the door.
Yeah. Well, the door is the door in my case is the last straw. Like I give everybody 3 chances.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I give everybody I give everybody 3 chances. First chance is I misunderstood. Or excuse me, the first chance is I misunderstood what you were trying to do. Second chance is maybe I didn't convey to you the right way, so you understood. Now I've conveyed it and you understand it. And I understand. So the third chance is this is your third chance. There's no end. The only end result is either the door, talking about D&D, is either the door or the table. Those are the only 2 outcomes left. Once you get to that third part, the end result, the final answer is going to be the door. If I have to consider it, the answer is the door. You went one of my rules is I'm all for romance. I love it. If players want to mingle with each other or NPCs or try and get married, I'm all for it. Let's have some fun. But if me as a DM, NPCs, or a player is like, nah, not interested for whatever reason, move on. And if you're like, nah, I'm gonna make this bitch get down on her knees. I'm gonna cast suggestion. I'm gonna roofie her drink. Yep, stop right there. Nope. You might be like, this is that first chance. Maybe I didn't explain myself very well. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what's happening here. Maybe it's because maybe I think that you're just so far into this character you don't realize how serious this is. That's my fault because I didn't realize that. You try it again for conversation's sake. You try it again. Okay, this is your fault now. I'm going to convey it 20 ways to Sunday. We're not roofing anybody. Chill out. You try it again, there's a door. There's no explanation anymore.
Yeah. I feel like there's certain things for me that are just...
And those are the extreme examples, let me be clear.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain... Like, there's a lot of things where it's just like... You know, like if the party's not a murder hobo party, but there's one murder hobo there, and you're just like, hey, chill out, parties, not a big fan. You know, going through that process makes sense.
Oh, my character would do because he wouldn't give me a discount on this +3 greatsword.
Yeah, like, and trust me, not in D&D, I've been that player in Larian Studios, who does Baldur's Gate, has the Divinity series, which is a very similar RPG style series.
I played Divinity. I didn't like it.
Yeah. But I was playing with my buddies.
I'm totally gonna get hate comments.
Our first campaign, I was a murder hobo, and they were like, "Dude, we're starting another campaign. Can you not be a murder hobo?" And I was like, "Yeah, my bad. Like the way I built my character was just really bad, and I had nothing else to do, and I got bored and was being a jerk, and I didn't take into account my friend's fun. That's my bad.
But lesson learned.
Yeah, lesson learned. I did not do that the second time. The second time I was very serious. I made a character that I was happy with. We all had fun.
And I bet you had a better experience.
Yeah, I mean,
self-recognition.
Yeah, like the jokes were great. And then, but overall, it's just one of those. There are certain things that, like, you brought up an extreme situation, but if that situation happened at my table, I'm sorry, you're a human being. There are certain things that you don't do, even in theory, or in pretend world. Mm-hmm. And if you even bring those up, we're done. Like, there are certain things like killing a child or using suggestion with whatever. Yeah, no, all those things. There are certain things that I'm just like, if society in real life would look at you for even thinking about those things, like you're the scum of the earth, you should not even. I don't know why it would come up in D&D, and I don't know why I would treat it as anything different.
Well, I feel like you could do like Chad was saying. The first warning is kind of like, "Hey, am I misunderstanding what you're doing?" And then at least it gives them an out. Like it gives them plausible deniability to be like, "Oh no, I wasn't gonna roofie this person." Like at least they have a chance to deny it, and then they'll also know, like, okay, that doesn't fly here. I'm not going to try it again. But, it'd still be a red flag for you.
Psychological warfare.
I mean,
be on the lookout for.
Yeah, for me, as someone who is, as the person here statistically most likely to get roofied and assaulted, if that's something that person would even consider doing in Fantasyland, that's not someone I want sitting near me at a table. Because that is someone who could hurt me.
That is very
fair. There's a very big difference to me of like, like say, like Chad has a thing about the baby heads on pikes. We don't do baby heads on pikes. Cool. Somebody just, we got through with like raiding an orc town, and somebody was like, and we put their kids' heads on pike, and Chad's like, whoa. That would be one of those moments where you're just like, because in real life, nobody's logically thinking, I'm going to go to like an elementary school and put children's heads on pikes. Like, no, that's not a thing that we need to worry about a human being doing. Mm-hmm. But if you're using D&D as a way to act out fantasies that are plausible in real life, I am removing you from that situation entirely.
And the answer to that is there is a table that will welcome that. It's just not this one. Because don't get me wrong, like, we've said it on camera. I know for a fact I've said it on camera, like, we're all inclusive. That doesn't mean that we're all considering.
Yeah.
You will always have a safe space with us until you prove you're not safe for us.
Yeah, like, I'm a selfish man. I'm going to look after myself. And if looking after myself is making sure my DM has everything that she needs, I'm going to do it. And if that means, hey, Spencer, you need to stop bringing up kids' heads on pikes, man. I'm doing it because of selfish reasons. I want to have a good time. So I'm going to tell Spencer to chill out because he's interrupting my good time because Harley can't tell the story that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I think for me,
I know it sounds shitty saying I'm selfish, but in all actuality, it's just people don't need to be shitty. It's just common sense. Don't be shitty.
Yeah, but you extend that selfishness to other people. You know they want to have a good time too, so you're not going to do things that take away from them having a good time. Yeah. So it works out.
Everything is about me. I'm the main character.
At the end of the day, D&D is for enjoyment. It is a fun hobby that we all do, just like video games or drawing or anything else. That being said, how you interact with your fun hobbies can be very telling of who you are as a person. And if people don't like the way you interact with your hobbies, like if you have a buddy who goes on and like starts screaming slurs at people because they're losing in Call of Duty, you're not going to assume they're a good person all the time in real life.
2010.
You're gonna I mean, 2010 was a different time period. We're in 2025, okay?
Yeah, we're not judging you for what you did in middle school.
Yeah, we're not.
John, I'm people now, okay?
Yeah, middle school Xbox Live chat. That's a whole different thing. But like, we're adults having fun, and if your fun needs to include you discriminating or living out some fantasy that is dangerous to people in real life, that is not fun. That is not, because other people are here to have fun as well, and those other people are probably very uncomfortable at this idea.
Yeah.
And it is now very telling to me of who you are as a human, and I don't think we want that around anymore. That is how I would look at it.
Your fun group consists of people that wear pointy hoods. You don't need to be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is fine. You can
which is fair.
Sure,
fine. Go do that. I'm sure there's D&D Nazi guys. Have fun. Go do that.
Well, I mean, they call themselves, the clan calls themselves like Grand Wizard and Grand Dragon.
Exactly.
There's obviously clan.
They're just
D&D
LARPing. It's
They're
fine.
just LARPing.
But at the
Go
end
hang out with them.
They're just racist LARPing, okay.
But at the end of the day, I'll know that how somebody acts, how somebody acts doing their hobby is very telling to me of who they are as a person. Because this is the most relaxed, chill you can be. You're doing something that you have as a hobby for fun. If that involves you being discriminatory or creepy or anything else, then probably don't expect you. That is one of those, when I say here's the door moments, there's no question, nothing. Here's the door.
Yeah, if we're we make
Because
racist
I don't
jokes.
want you in my...
Yeah, we make racist jokes and sexist jokes and everything, but we have an already predetermined understanding that I will literally take a bullet for Harley. As much shit as I give her, she's a godsend, and I will do anything and everything for her. I will give the shirt off my back to anybody here. I'm not going to talk to a brand new female dungeon master the same way I talked to Harley on a one shot who knows nothing about me because
we played our one shot. Catherine was the first one to make a sexist joke, and she caught you so off guard.
I specifically
she
waited.
Caught Chet so off guard.
I waited so long because that's my nature already. If when I went to my new unit, I will literally wait until somebody swears before I swear.
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah, there's swearing is one of those I have a problem with. I
am the first one to swear. I'm pretty sure, as Spencer's boss at Comic-Con, I cursed within the first 3 minutes I was talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, though, you have to curse at Comic-Con, otherwise it just builds up and builds up and builds up.
It's in the contract. It's required. Yeah. You have to.
If you don't curse in maintenance, what are you even doing here?
Yeah.
But no,
listen,
and I agree with you.
If I go to Waffle House and they're acting like it's Denny's, don't even go.
What the fuck's up, Denny's? But no, I hate that's one of the things that I have to say at my table is as shitty as it's gonna sound, what I say goes, and there's a reason for it. The reason is, like I said, I'm all inclusive. You can be and do whatever you want, but that means that there's a limit. These are these limits. Kitsets on pikes, roofie, that kind of stuff. Absolutely, these are these limits. If you, in your heart of hearts, cannot play a make-believe game of rolling dice and playing a character off of a piece of paper without dropping N-word or R-wording a freaking make-believe character at a table, I feel like you're in the wrong hobby, my guy.
Yeah.
We all have our outs. Obviously my out is storytelling and creating stuff, and honestly just watching people laugh their asses off or cry, or both. Laugh while crying, getting mad at each other, characters, not the players, getting mad, struggling with puzzles, cheering whenever they finally beat the big bad that took them 3 hours to beat. Absolutely. You can have those moments and then not drop N-bombs. You can have those moments and not try to freaking R-word my wife's
Me.
character at the
It's
table.
hard to. Yeah, it's hard. It's easy to not be a shitty person.
It's really
Bye.
easy to
Yeah.
not be a shitty person,
Yeah.
and as shitty as it sounds, I've had to look at people and dead in the face is like, there's the door. You need
Yeah.
to go. You need to go on Reddit and find a group to play with because this isn't here.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even think that's shitty. That is, I overall as the DM, and I look at this the same. I manage restaurants and bars. Like I work with drunk people are common in my life. And I've made this very clear to all my servers, and I think it holds up being a DM as much as it does being a manager of servers and stuff. You are allowed to do this thing without being harassed or feeling uncomfortable. And it is my job as your DM to make sure that is happening. At the end of the day, the DM is the person in charge of the table. And it is my job to make sure that none of my players feel uncomfortable or harassed. And if that means removing somebody, I will remove that person very easily.
A lot of things that people, one thing that people don't seem to understand, I'm pretty sure Spencer can agree on, being the witness to everything, is the DM is responsible for everybody's safety as well. Because if I'm bringing a guy into the table, and let's say, Harley brought up the SA thing. I bring a guy at the table and I invite him. He's a cool dude at work. He's super chill, super nerdy, loves magic, Pokemon, all the good stuff. And he's like, yeah, I want to try D&D too. Cool, bring him in. Hey, Harley, this is my guy from work. Super nerdy like us, super chill. Well, session 1, session 2 happens. He's kind of giving off kind of creepy guy vibes. Maybe he's just kind of testing out the waters, but it's definitely making Harley feel uncomfortable a little bit. Let me talk to Harley real quick, make sure everything's good to go. Then let me talk to this other guy. And then session 3, he goes off the bandwagon and tries to roofie Harley's character. And then he's like doing the creepy thing, like, I'm gonna get that puss. Okay, now safety is a concern.
Yeah.
Like a DM's job, and obviously John and Spencer and everybody else would chip in too. I'm fairly certain. But now it's my responsibility for Harley's well-being.
That's my wife.
Yeah, that's my wife.
Well,
So people don't really understand the power of a DM, and the power of a DM is you can play or not.
Yeah. But like you were saying earlier too about, accepting until you give a reason not to be, it's kind of like, to get all philosophical, the paradox of tolerance is like, you don't have to be tolerant of intolerance. Like, if someone walks in like, well, I'm just going to be a racist and that's who I am and you have to let me have my fun. It's like, no, we don't,
No, I
You
don't.
can have your fun
You can
until
have
you
fun.
start, your right to swing your arms stops at my face. Like, if you're going to be an asshole and make everybody else uncomfortable, then it's
I like
not.
that statement. I've
Yeah.
never heard that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we said
Your right to swing your arms is allowed until it's near my face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the examples that happened in class this past week.
Oh, really?
Yep, it's a really cool, interesting thing. Literally about and it's kind of like what I was saying. Like in some of the horror stories, some of the NCOs were saying, "Hey, the only way to get through this airman is to literally talk to them like teetotal dog shit." But that's because that's how they were raised. That's the only way that their mom would talk to them.
Okay.
So one of those horror stories was like, "All right, cool. You can get in my face all you want. And you can scream, yell, and you can be the exact way that you want to be. Understand that there's rules and regs. Once you start getting here, then there's a problem." Lo and behold, they did, but regardless. But no, the power of a DM is incredible. And I know it sounds really crazy because we're talking about a military guy, a freaking martial arts guy, and we got all this stuff. But like when we're talking about in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, the DM is not just the end all be all storyteller and mechanics guru and whatnot. Like, no, they're responsible for people's well-being and safety.
Oh yeah.
There are some things that I can do and say, and because I'm a very physical guy with like my I have a screen, minis, portrait make. I do all of it. We go full regalia. Like there are things as a DM that I can bring to the table. Like Harley might be fucking terrified of snakes, and she tells me straight up, I don't want snakes in the campaign. Cool, I won't put snakes in the campaign. I can be that jerk and be like, I'm gonna fuck with this bitch. and literally 3D print a massive snake specifically
As a note,
and slap
Chad,
it on
you
front of
nailed
her.
snakes.
Oh, did I?
Don't like snakes. I do not like snakes. They don't have enough legs, and they can kill you if they bite you. I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
but
like,
before you said the bite, I was gonna say you must love millipedes then because they have
Yeah.
all the legs.
oh,
Nope,
yeah.
that's too many legs. That is still not the right
Yeah,
number
why do you
of
need
legs.
more than 2? Anyways,
So how many legs is too many?
More than 4.
Honestly, I'm iffy on spiders, so yeah, more than 4.
but yeah, like
Okay.
I have that power to literally break Harley mentally and emotionally. I can traumatize her. I also have the power to make her feel the safest she's ever been in her entire life. I have the power to get rid of something that can hurt her. Like maybe it's Spencer. Maybe Spencer's the one that keeps touching on her leg and smells like ass. And yeah, my boy, he knows it. He gets it. But I have that power.
That babe.
Yeah, I know, right? But I have that power to look at Spencer and be like, get the fuck out,
Need you
dude.
to know, I looked up and his face had just changed.
It's great. This is why I love you, buddy. But no, I have that power. Like we as DMs, we have that power to be like, all right, Spencer, get the fuck out. You're a safety measure at this point. You're a safety concern. Excuse me. And people don't understand that. I shouldn't say people. A lot of people just don't understand. Like when we're talking about, like, it doesn't have to be just Dungeons and Dragons. Anything involving TTRPG or a group gathering, if there's a host, that host is responsible for everybody's safety. That's not something that a lot of people consider.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when we see those red flag players, and I mean like objective red flags, not the phone guy that John likes. Fuck you, buddy. Eat shit. We just have to be diligent, you know. Especially red flags, because a red flag player can literally make somebody refuse to play Dungeons and Dragons ever again. I bring that guy over, and he's just messing with Harley to and fro. Now she no longer wants to play Dungeons and Dragons ever again.
Mm.
I mean, what's actually going to happen is I'm going to put him on his ass and I'm probably going to get arrested, but it'll be worth it.
You in particular, sure.
Yeah.
But I've just seen.
But
and
I
heard-
am not the vast majority of people.
Yeah, I've seen and heard so many horror stories of like people dropping D&D or card games or board games or video games because of how they were treated, and the DM or the host or the leader failed to uphold their unwritten responsibility of keeping the fucking group safe,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
all because of a red flag player that decided to live up to their name.
Yeah, and the thing too is I find, I mean, not from experience with D&D, but just, you know, anything in general, sometimes a red flag person, you know, not saying they're a good person, a lot of red flag people are not good people, but they might not have had anyone ever actually tell them to their face, like, hey, this is not okay. And, you know, maybe even if you had to kick them out of your session, maybe that'll be the wake-up call for them, not necessarily to become a better person, but at least to restrain themselves from being an awful person. Maybe they'll be, oh, you know, I still like playing D&D, I don't want to get kicked out again, I'll refrain from being a giant douchebag in the next group I play with. So,
The only disagreement
you know,
I have with
maybe
that,
they learn as a person, maybe they don't, but if they don't, if no one points out to them that they're being an idiot who's hurting other people, they might not be aware of it. Should they be? Yes, but they might not be.
the only disagreement I have with that is your statement is, to me, your statement is contradictory.
Okay.
You kicking that player out, and I mean no disrespect, please. You kicking that player out, and then they now have thought of the idea of restraint already makes them a better person. It might be 0.001%
Okay.
better.
Okay,
But already-
okay.
Having that mentality of like, okay, I want to play Dungeons and
That's
Dragons.
fair.
Let me have
That's
a little bit
fair.
of restraint here because I want to keep doing it. Maybe it's only Dungeons and Dragons that show restraint, but still to that tiny little degree,
That's
they
fair.
have become
That's
a better person.
fair. That's
I
And as
wanna-
long
that's
as we're
fair. I
being
can agree.
preachy.
I can agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
Because I want
can
to
agree
give
with you
people,
there.
I want to give, like, I'm a freaking softy at heart. I know I'm an asshole sometimes, and I know I can come down on hard on people. but
Sometimes.
Yeah, but I
To be
try
fair,
to,
you married me.
yeah, I know, right? But I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I try to read people more than what I can see. Just that guy that was like, hey, you're right. There's still a piece of shit outside of my table, but just a simple fact that I'm not going to be on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try
That's
to.
true.
I'm not going to try to R-word Harley's character. They can
That's
still try to
true. Baby
R-word in
steps-
real life.
Baby steps are still steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
As long as
A win's
as
a win.
long as we're being preachy, when I, as a woman, say men talk to your boys, get involved, it's because players like that aren't safe for me. I can't provide that space. And you know what? Maybe they legitimately don't understand how creepy they are being.
Why are you hanging out with Spencer then? That shit-eating grin you had earlier, man. That's creepy as fuck.
Spencer is a sweet baby boy.
There it is.
You know, sorry, complete sidetrack
You're good.
real quick. For how often I'm used to seeing Spencer with his eyes like they are right now, pretty closed. Yeah, it like one very shaggy ass to be like very squinty all the time. But with your eyes wide open, I was like, oh yeah, that is a little weird.
With
Like,
eyes wide open.
very buggy eyed.
I feel like I'm a horrible voice actor and I'm not a good actor, but I feel like I'm good at those really exaggerated silent type things because that's
Like
kind of
physical
my-
comedy.
Yeah, I feel like that's my thing.
I'm gonna talk to Harley about coming up with some like bit structured stuff where we do like, am I the asshole? Hey, we're like spin the wheel and you got to say this line in this accent just to have
Oh,
fun.
that's fun.
That's
I
what I'm
like
thinking.
that. I like that.
Hey, I've been wanting to replace some of the fake curses,
Yeah, we
so
can do that. But I
You
think
have
we
to talk
the
in a
accent
country
wheel.
accent. You have to talk in a country accent.
yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my god.
And with that, I think we've got the point across. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's beat it with a dead horse.
Yeah, just don't be a piece of shit, guys.
Hey,
You'll be fine.
It's easy.
surprising.
don't be a piece of shit or I will stab specifically you in your sleep.
Yes,
And
100%.
if you have to ask yourself if you're being a piece of shit, probably don't do it. Good
Yep.
rule of thumb.
If you're going to work and you met an asshole out of 100 people, you met an asshole. If you met 100 assholes, it's probably you. And with that, thank you all for joining us for our talk. May your thirst be quenched and your bellies full. We'll see you again next time for another meal around Ganta's table. And
Like, comment, subscribe.
like, comment, and subscribe like that pretty little lady done there said. Farewell.